This is horseshit. Why am I using? Why do I? Why do I only own an 11-year-old MacBook?
Hey, same here, brother. Can you see
This
me?
is fucking ridiculous. I make good money. Like, what the fuck am I doing with this?
Can you see me yet?
Okay, here we go. I just got to move this thing, and boom. Okay. Oh, what we got those? Are those lemons stuffed with guacamole?
It looks like guacamole. Look up if a papaya is supposed to look like that on the inside.
Oh, that's a papaya?
I don't know. Or a passion fruit, maybe? Oh my god, it's fucking delicious. Jesus Christ.
No, it looks like a pomegranate, but it's not red.
Oh, dude, this looks gross.
Is it just a bunch of slimy seed shit? Is that what it is?
Oh my god.
Hell yeah.
That's
honestly
amazing.
That kind of looks like a kiwi if you put it in the blender or something.
Mmm.
Mmm. Okay, now I finally fuck with my settings here. What the fuck is going on with this?
Whew. It's very tart. But it does look like guacamole, kind of.
Yeah, kind of.
It looks like guacamole caviar, dude.
Yeah, or some sort of
Dude, let me get
I don't know. It looks like a mashed up kiwi or like a giant kiwi, honestly.
All right, it's kind of hard to tell.
Caviar is not a way. Well, in my eyes, you shouldn't describe something good
They're
as
like covered in gel.
Disgusting. Oh yeah, you're eating some candy gel, like back in the day. What the fuck? This is making me all dark.
It looks like you live in Denver, dude.
What's that?
Or did you see how the Pacific Northwest is getting snow and shit?
I literally try to just act like that part of the country doesn't exist.
Same.
I'm never even.
I do have some family that lives over there, so I still care about them.
Well, I always hear about stuff happening up there, but like I swear, it's like I don't know. I feel like I could tell you about more cool facts about like freaking I don't know Indiana than like Oregon or Washington. I mean, Oregon's cool. Like the geographical stuff is cool, but like everything you read in the news there is just like I don't know. It seems like they have some sort of like cannibalism problem or something. Like everybody's just eating each other's face all the time. But Oregon has Crater Lake, the deepest lake in the United States, and it's 13.
Hey.
Yeah, dude. It's a filled up volcano half dome or whatever the fuck they call it, a cinder cone volcano.
It's the deepest lake in the world or something.
Just the United States. The deepest lake in the world is actually it's in like Sweden or something. Or yeah, it's like in Scandinavia. That's what you call that area, right? Like the Scandinavia. Yeah. It's like Iceland and all that shit.
Yeah,
I think it's like up there, but it's in these mountains, but it's actually a canal for like a trade route. And it's technically a lake because it has a lock on each side for the ships. But otherwise it would just be the ocean. So it's like, I think it's like 2,000 feet deep or some shit. It's insane.
Jesus. That's where the Loch Ness Monster lives, probably.
And that's what I always think is crazy is because when I was actually just reading this earlier. I was looking at like the deepest lakes in Oklahoma. And the deepest one is actually...
it's not that deep. It's Broken Bow.
It's only like 170 feet.
Yeah, Broken Bow is... Yeah, it's not even 200 or something like that. There's coal pits. There's coal pits out there. Bro, hush.
That's literally nothing. That's like 170 feet is literally from where I'm sitting to my neighbor's front door across the street right there. And that's like a 6-second walk.
That's a ridiculous to me.
Well, that's weird too, because that's like that's what's crazy because if it's only that deep, like shit, you should probably only go out on the lake like whenever it's like up. Like if the water is like lower than normal, like don't take a nice boat out there. You'll probably hit a tree or something because like, and that's just the deepest. I mean, on average, I think it's like 30 feet.
Yeah.
But that's what's crazy about those lakes that they dam up. They don't even clear like any trees or anything. They just leave them in the ground. So like
people just run over them over time.
No, there's like like some lakes, depending on the water temperature, have like an underwater forest, or it's just like a bunch of preserved trees that are still like rooted in the ground. It's pretty wild. And like if they're growing out of rocks and stuff, they'll stay there forever. But if they're growing in like sandy soil, then they eventually like once they die, they get buoyant and then they float up to the surface. So, but yeah, it's pretty wild because dude, I was at the lake a couple weekends ago, and I was riding. Me and Lauren were riding Sea-Doos, and I didn't know this, but on Grand Lake, there's like this random railroad bridge in the middle of the lake. Did you know that?
Where at? What lake?
Grand Lake. There's just like this random railroad bridge sticking out of the water.
It's like a broken bridge or something. People go catfishing there.
Yeah, it's just a random railroad bridge that used to go over the river at that point. But it's strange because I can't figure out what it did because like the bridge goes across the river like this, and then the gap in between the river and the shore is only about, I'd say like 100 feet.
You know
but
what
it goes directly into the side of a mountain, and there's no like tunnel there. So I'm like, where the hell did that bridge? Where was it even going? Like it must have had a 90-degree turn right out of that bridge.
It was used to transport all the rock and shit that they fucking bulldozed out of the lake, and they transported it and they dumped it, and they transported it and they dumped it, and then they just created like a fucking.
Oh, okay, that makes sense because they probably dumped it right on the because like on the deep end of it, like where it was just a big drop off.
Mm-hmm.
That must have been it. That mountain right there must like step out and have like another cliff right there where the bridge is.
I'm pretty sure that's what they used it for. I think that's because they did a similar thing on Ulagal Lake too, where they have a railroad track and it only goes a short distance like that. And it's pretty clear to see that they like blew out portions of the existing like rock wall that was there, and then like transported it, and then they just forgot about the railroad. They're like, fuck it, it'll fill up with water. Just like they say with the trees and stuff, like, fuck it, it'll fill up with water.
So that's what's crazy is like, yeah, dude, like dams are. That's what I've been thinking about because like when you're on the water, you just think of the water as water. Like you don't think about what it was 10 years before they dammed it up. You know what I mean? And it's cool because like they had to move like entire towns sometimes. It's like, hey guys, this is gonna be flooded. We'll pay all you guys to move your houses, and we'll help you move your actual house. Like 5 miles that way. I think that's so cool because a lot of that stuff didn't even happen that long ago. Because my aunt, the house she has on Grand Lake, it's on the shore, but it was built while that was still a river. And of course, it's on like the part where it kind of feeds in, like the Grand River or the Neosho River or something like feeds into the lake.
Yeah, Neosho, some
shit. Or well, the Grand River feeds it. There's like 6 rivers that go into Grand Lake.
There's a ton of rivers that lead into it. That's why it's called Grand Lake, right?
Well, it was the perfect place for a lake because it was literally like a delta of a bunch of different rivers. Mm-hmm. So if like one of them was dried up, it was always getting a river source. So like the Grand River, that's also what they do all the barges on. Like that's what goes to the Mississippi is the Grand. Like no matter what, it always has water going into it.
Dude, Oklahoma's got water for days. They even have like
even in a drought, like it's not that bad.
Lake, Broken Arrow Lake, Tulsa Lake. They got all these big lakes that are super deep. Like I'm talking about like what is it? The very end of Memorial, there's a lake, Bigsby Lake.
Big Zoma.
Lake Big Zoma.
Yeah, they do a festival out there every now and then too.
They do snorkeling out there because it's like 200 foot deep or some shit. They found bodies in the bottom of there. It's like sheer cliffs, and it's like deeper than any lake or whatever.
Dude, have you been watching any of these Lake Mead videos?
I've heard of that. What about
Well,
it?
the water is going down like super.
Oh yeah, and they're
The boat ramp now where it used to be
run out of power. Basically, they're gonna.
Well, there's this guy I subscribed to on YouTube like forever ago, and it was just fishing videos. It's called like Sin City Outdoors because it was always like Lake Powell. The other one I just mentioned that I lost. Mead. Like basically all these huge Colorado River basins that crazy ass fish in them because they're always cold water. So you can grow some crazy ass shit, like just like big ass, like 300-pound gar somehow, like shit like that. And but yeah, I followed him, but then like he didn't post for a long time, and he like in the past year or two, or maybe he did. I just didn't watch like fishing videos. Like I kind of fell out of that shit, and then he started posting all this stuff like, oh yeah, the water level's going down. It's like, oh yeah, they found a bunch of bodies in the lake, like in barrels, because it's really close to Vegas. So like the mafia used to just dump dead bodies in barrels and throw them in the lake. And now that the lake's down, all that shit's coming up. And dude, there's like speedboats everywhere, like hundreds of speedboats at the bottom of that lake that are now on the surface, like from the 50s and 60s. And it like you can just imagine like some mobster gets pissed. They take some dude out there on a speedboat, like they're gonna race, and then they intentionally blow him up, and then they find his body, stuff it in a barrel, and then sink the boat and the barrel, like all that shit. It's pretty crazy.
Answer me.
Is your window down?
Huh?
Hey, have you ever seen a passion fruit? Look.
Oh, a passion fruit. That's what it was.
Hey, look at it. While you're driving, look at it.
Hey, but did you see what I got?
That's not a passion fruit.
It's a pink fucking pineapple.
Yeah, they have them at Reese's. Thank you, Del Monte. That's the brand.
I literally just walked in the door to see what this was.
This fruit? Look at this. All right, look at this fruit. This is a full one.
Is that a dragon fruit?
This is the one I just ate. Lauren, look at it.
I'm looking at it.
No, I said Lauren, not Lauren. Gotcha.
Is that dubstep?
Okay, well, the pink pineapple.
Last name is what is the fruit?
You know, I can't actually hear what anyone is saying at all.
Oh, that's good because we can't hear what we're saying because of your road noise.
Why is it goopy?
Okay, blended kiwi.
Look at it. It looks like a booger.
What is that part?
Devin eats his boogers. I don't want to scrub through
They're seeds, look. They're seeds.
It's boogers.
See, I knew what it was. I saw the fucking. I've seen that thing before. I just didn't know what it was.
The way Devin's eating that is grossing me out.
Well, I had a spoon earlier, I promise.
Matt, are you taxiing to the runway right now?
Huh?
I hate that.
Are you taxiing to the runway right now at the airport? You're on the.
I don't get it.
That's what it sounds like. Your car's just going.
Look, I have fruit too. It's the flattest orange you've ever seen.
Is that a pumpkin?
It's a clementine.
Orange.
It's a
Is that
clementine.
a pumpkin? Holy shit. Hey, that wasn't even grown cage free, dude. That was grown fucking in a cage.
Cage-free orange. Cage-free oranges.
Wait,
It's a clementine.
caged passion fruit?
Matt, I'm going to edit Mike's settings and turn you all the way down.
It's so loud. I'm glad I don't have headphones on. I'm not echoing, am I?
No, apparently not.
All right, now I can't hear the road noise anymore. Matt, can I hear you talk?
He can't hear you.
Matt,
Fuck.
He's always talking about how great his Alexa Auto is, and it doesn't work.
Devin muted you, Matt.
No, I didn't.
I actually talk a bunch of shit on it.
Oh, there you go. We
My
can hear
Alexa
you.
just started talking.
Alexa, stop.
I can
I
just kind of hear
don't
the
think if
wind.
it's outputting the audio, it picks up the word Alexa. It heard me that time.
Alexa, play Grateful Dead.
The fuck is that? Don't play no fucking. I don't know. I don't even know what that sounds like.
Grateful Dead, dude. It's like acid.
You weren't.
Did you have a bald spot on the side of your head?
Me?
Yeah. No, the other side. No, okay, fuck, never mind. It was a weird sun angle.
I got all my hair.
Connor has a mole on the side of his head.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
I didn't know
More
that.
fucking hair, dog.
Put the hat back on.
Oh, dude, when I was getting my hair cut yesterday, I felt like such a pussy because, like, in the place I was getting my hair cut, there was this just like super jacked black dude. And he's talking about how he had an MMA fight this weekend, like that. He's like, my hair's got to look right. I'm fighting this dude. I just came in at weight, blah blah blah. And the other dude was some like professional skateboarder that all the other barbers were just like gawking over. They're all like, dude, I can't believe you did this and stuff. I was like, yeah, work's been all right. You know, like, it sucks. But I got a good haircut out of it.
That MMA guy's
Did you
gonna
go
have
to some
great damage
downtown
control,
guy?
so.
Do what now?
Did you go to some fancy place downtown or where?
Oh, no, it's just this guy right by my house. It's a little
Yeah.
tiny place.
I have to get my
Everybody
shit.
needs a haircut. Except for me. I haven't cut my hair in like a year probably.
Hey, tell me what this does to the sound quality.
No, actually my
Jesus Christ. We're just got to mute him completely.
It's
What is
really
that?
fucking hot in my car without the air conditioner on.
Oh, that's the AC.
Yeah.
Wait, get the damn microphone off the vent. That's been the problem this whole time. Your
That's where
AC
the
is always blasting on the microphone.
That's where the Alexa lives.
Fuck the Alexa.
Get a different.
Well, if I don't have the Alexa, I don't have Bluetooth.
Well, that means every time you're on the phone, it's just blaring to other people.
You'd be better off just using your actual phone and not all this
On
complex.
speakerphone, 3 feet away from you. You can just put it in your center console and just cruise around.
Don't use Bluetooth?
No.
You're saying I should just listen to music on my phone instead of with the fucking Bluetooth?
Are you listening to music right now?
No.
Oh,
But-
okay.
Fuck.
Devin, your strap's getting loose. You need to cinch that up, buddy. There you go. Yeah, just like the videos.
The other day,
This is how you fix.
the other day,
a
Connor came in
fence.
with his hat strapped so tight it was choking himself. He goes, "Look, I'm Devin."
I did. No, I like the one where you have the small hat, the really tiny hat. Like, see, that one fits you with your hair and shit, but the other one's way too tiny.
I know, dude.
Dude, that how to fix the gate thing is actually kind of taking off. It's doing well.
Dude,
I think
I got a genuine thanks from somebody, I think, unless it was one of you guys scamming me.
We just need to do how-to videos, except don't put any thought into it. Like how to open a jar of peanut butter. Like just like literally, because people
Click on that.
are stupid, man. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. It could be like how to know when you're cutting your grass too short. And it's like, oh, to me, it's like I think everybody knows that, but
million views.
How to go fuck yourself.
How to control Florida lawn. Hashtag Tampa or something. I'm not a good
How to take allergy pills whenever you wake up in the morning, so you don't have an allergy attack halfway through the day.
Oh yeah, I actually need that because I've never had to
I
do that
gotta
before.
grab something.
An interesting look in my life.
I'm fucking dying over here. Oh,
That new job wanted me to start on July 5th, and I was like, fuck no, that's like the day after my birthday. So I said next week, and then they just didn't respond to me.
I feel like they're probably just spending too much time laughing to get back to. They're probably still laughing because when I have people that like consistently ask for things to change after the fact that something was settled on.
Oh no! I'm
It's
not
like,
changing.
well, especially, it's the day after my birthday. I can't start work. It's like, well, I haven't
That's
taken
not
off.
the legitimate reason, actually.
Oh,
The legitimate reason is that they said, okay, put in your 2 weeks, and then we'll give you a week after your 2 weeks are up. And what they're trying to do is have me start a couple of days after my 2 weeks are up before I even have a fucking house.
oh, just find an extended stay hotel and tell them, hey, can I? That's a little quick. This lease that I found won't start until yada yada. Will you reimburse me or pay up front for an extended stay hotel for the first 30 days or something like that? That way it gives you time. And that's cheaper to them for being like, hey, I need an extra $3,000 for moving expenses or something like that. Just be like, hey, I couldn't find a place until August 1st. Can you provide me with a hotel until August 1st or something like that?
Oh fuck! I unplugged the computer.
Yeah. Well,
Oh, I forgot you had a dog. I forgot. That's crazy, man.
Look at this cutie pie.
She's really
Somebody's a
big.
trash dog.
Why you like to be on the stream, baby?
See, I kind of hate all
I'm
black
gonna
labs.
cut her nails. I've been cutting her nails often.
Is that a dog that's
Dude, you're lucky you have a dog you can cut the nails on. That's crazy.
I know. She's very gentle. Like her hardest bite ever to me hasn't affected me.
Have you given her an egg yet?
That's after severely fucking with her. No, I
Give
haven't.
her an egg. Let's see what she does. She'll probably just crush it.
I threw some eggs in my garden and she didn't fuck with them. She didn't breaking me over.
Oh, get this. A couple days ago, I went out to check my garden, and one of my tomato plants that was like 4 feet tall just completely disappeared.
Damn.
It was just, there was like a couple stems about this long on the ground, and it was all like wilted and smushed. Everything else was just fucking gone. And then I had a ton of tomatoes growing before I went camping. I came back, all these huge tomatoes that were like a foot up on the plant were just gone completely. I just searched my whole garden, no scraps. I think rabbits or cats are knocking them off, and then rabbits are eating everything that hits the ground.
No, dude. Okay, so I had squash bugs eat 2 entire squash plants that I have, and they're huge. And like I sprayed fucking 7 dust on them, like some serious insecticide that specifically is labeled to kill squash bugs. And I only have 1 remaining left. They completely destroyed and ate down to the stem. Like they ate it all. Like within like a night.
7 dust cause cancer or some shit?
Well, and with tomatoes, though, it's a lot slower because tomatoes are super resilient. But I didn't notice any bugs unless they just showed up in one day and then disappeared after a day. But, it made no freaking sense to me at all. Like, it's literally like somebody poured gasoline on it and then just cut the plant down to the root and just left some leaves behind. But, well, that's what I thought. I think a cat, chewed on it and fucked it up. And then some rabbits ate it, but I looked it up, and tomatoes are rabbits will eat tomatoes, but they can't eat too much of the fruit or the plant because it's toxic to them, and especially when they're green. And all my shit was green.
Same with cats too. Right?
So
probably Bruce, dude.
No, it wasn't Bruce because he wasn't here. We were gone all weekend.
Well, it's like I was trying to say, black labs in general.
Did y'all
are just
take 'em with
trash
you?
animals.
No, we took him to her parents.
Oh, I thought it was a family reunion camping trip.
Well, we can't.
No dogs allowed.
Well,
per
you can-
Connor's
no.
lesbian aunt.
No, she doesn't go there anymore. But like it's a good idea not to bring a dog because there's so many ticks. Even if they're on like tick stuff, they'll just come back with tons of ticks. Yeah. And it's a bunch of like rocks, and it messes up their paws when they're walking on rocks all the time.
Yeah.
They're really sharp. Like I tried, even in the river, I tried to like walk barefoot in the river when I was trying to take a bath, and it was like killing my feet. And they're like mossy,
Get
so
back
like
in the river.
trying to walk across some like rapids, and it's like these mossy rocks, and I was barefoot. I was
I
just
know exactly. You slip on one and it instantly stubs your toe on
yeah,
another.
exactly. Like every area, like it wedges under another rock. Like it's horrible.
Stubs your toe in 3 different spots.
Well, even if you're wearing like just like I was just wearing like some flip flops and like, doing the same thing. Like, you gotta wear shoes and socks to walk through the water. If you don't wear socks, then little tiny pebbles get in your feet and tear up your feet.
You know,
So you gotta wear socks too. So it's like, and you might as well wear jeans. Like,
eat some water moccasins off you.
that was insane. Did I tell you about the leech that I saw?
Yeah, he said it was big or something.
Yeah, it was like that long.
Jesus.
It's insane.
It's terrifying, dude.
Crazy stuff.
Bug.
But yeah, I want to start going camping a lot more. It'd be cool to go camping down in Florida, actually. Like go out to like the Everglades and just camp in the sand.
Everglades, I'm down, dude. I'd go on like a week-long trip there, dude. Totally.
Let's do that next time I go down there. Let's just spend like 2 nights out there.
I'd be down. I want to get some shit. I'll just get a tent or something, and I'll have other camping supplies and fly down here.
Jesus, mute that shit, dude. Come on. Jesus Christ.
Easy boy.
All I heard was the sound of his breaking glass and shattering.
Where's Keith?
But yeah, next time I come down there, let's go like camping for a couple of days.
Oh, dude, wait, was it you that I was watching with the vultures at the Everglades?
The
Did I watch
vultures?
that at no, I didn't watch that with you. Dude, in Florida, I was watching this guy who goes down to the Everglades on a road trip, and he drives into this.
Matt, are you at an animal shelter?
Lauren,
My
He
house.
drives into this one portion of the park, and it says, "Take a tarp and a couple bungee cords, and you have to tarp up your car because the vultures will just pick shit off of your car, like all the rubber."
oh wait, I saw that. I think you sent that in your chat recently.
No,
didn't
me and you watched it together. When
you? Oh yeah, that was like last week or something.
Yeah, I don't think that was that
Yeah.
long ago.
Yeah, and like you have to go into this bucket. Yeah, we watched a video for like 45 minutes on the last.
And then they fucking
It was, yeah,
you have a bag full of tarps or
yeah. It's like a pool toy box that you open, like a pool accessory box, and you open it up. Tons of tarps there. You go bungee it down because they'll eat all the plastic trim off of your windshield. Isn't that hilarious? Birds are trained to eat plastic nowadays.
microplastics. What about birds?
Exactly, a bird.
Government solution for microplastics.
Well, that's how they get microplastics into uninhabited areas because only birds go there. So they shit microplastics all in the islands and like the exotic jungles.
There you go.
They're government drones. They're government poison redistribution drones.
There you go. I'm convinced.
Yes, you are. Okay, so here's a good idea. I come down to Florida. We go camping with the Gators. I buy a shitty tent, and then just leave it there.
You don't want
Or
to
wait, I already have a shitty tent. I
You
could
don't-
probably
you don't-
fit it on an airplane.
Would
Can you bring
Matt's
tents on an airplane?
farting turn you off?
Oh, he's just standing there farting.
No, one time I went camping with Matt and Michael, and they constantly give me shit for farting. While
me, well, when you drink beer all day, like you just spend all night farting.
Yeah,
That's how it goes.
You're up late playing fucking Monopoly or something. And
You're playing Monopoly and just eating like dozens of hot dogs, drinking dozens of beers. You're just gonna. It's
What are you
just like
talking about?
oh, going camping and just going to sleep and just like shitting your pants nonstop. Oh
Dude,
god,
I had
Jinglers.
the greatest birthday of all time. I basically ate like 10 hot dogs and drank 10 beers.
Oh yeah, dude,
What-
hot dogs are only good like when you're camping. I feel like when you're super trapped.
What?
It doesn't even matter if they're like cold still, kind of. Like you run
Oh,
out of
I have
food
no
and
idea.
it's cold.
Maybe
good.
once, yeah.
You make some pretty mean burgers while we've been camping before that. So.
Remember that one time when Trey just bought a bunch of pork chops?
Dude, he used to just go out and buy we'd go to, I remember I went camping with Trey, me and Trey, like one-on-one at least like 5 or 6 times. And he would just be like, oh yeah, let's go to fucking Warehouse General or
Warehouse Market. Yeah, I remember that place.
And
around.
he would just buy a fuck ton of corn and shit, and we would just grill all weekend and go fishing and stuff. It was
burn everything.
We'd just drink 1,000 beers. I'd bring some weed out and get Trey super high. It was
That reminds me whenever I puked up cream corn all over his tent.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was the same night that a lot of bad stuff happened that night. I feel like it was. Oh, was that the night that it ended up going down to like 12 degrees? And during the day it was like 70. So we're like, oh hell yeah, it's perfect weather. Then at night we brought like thin blankets, tents. Then everybody slept in their car with their car running all night. It was me, you, and Trey, like, and Lauren. I don't know if I think. Oh, that was the night that like Joel. No, that wasn't the night.
No, okay. So remember when we went out to like fucking Grand Lake or Disney and we stayed on Hulk's?
We used to do that a lot. I feel like we did that like 5 or 6 times.
The Boy Scouts were getting their frost badge there or something.
That's like
it was like below. It was cold as balls outside.
I woke up at 5 a.m. and it was 12 degrees.
It was so goddamn cold. Yeah, like the fucking creek was like frozen and shit in the morning. Like it was very chilly that night.
That wasn't the time. No, that wasn't the same time.
There was beer cans and stuff left outside and like water bottles that were like fucking starting to freeze.
Yeah, that wasn't the time because I remember like I think the first time we went there, it was a ton of people. Like you brought Courtney, I remember that was a long time ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I think that was the first time we went, and it was when you and Trey both brought your 4-wheelers. It was that time.
I think the one time that
no, it wasn't because that time I didn't have the top on.
Yeah, okay, and then we went there a different time. I went there without Courtney the second time.
Yeah, we went there like
a weekend thing. That's what we used to do. We would go there and we'd head out like on a Friday night or a Friday evening after work kind of thing.
You kind of up.
Well, I think as like we went to Grand Lake as a group, I think we went there twice in the summer and then twice like around Christmas. And then one time we had an RV. The first time that's when it was just freezing. The second time is when we took that RV up on a buggy.
Don't eat the rind.
That looks like spam.
Dude, have you ever seen how to eat a pineapple? You just bash it on the ground a couple of times, and then you just pull out the fucking rinds like chunks, and they come.
Or you take like each spike, you just like pull it.
We're talking about fucking.
Or you can also roll it around like on a countertop, like.
Yeah, pineapples. Yeah, pineapples are dope. I'm gonna grow some. I have a spot picked out and everything.
Dude, there's like 10 of these. Look how flat all of them are.
Those are pumpkins.
Okay. Hey, look at my jalapenos I got, dude. I got a bunch of good jalapenos.
Oh, nice. I only have a couple that are small.
I have a ton. I also have
so many cayenne peppers. I don't know what I'm going to do with them. I guess I'm going to just deter bugs with them or something.
I have a big-ass bell pepper, too. It's like this big.
Huh?
What?
Microphones that do auto-tune.
What
You hold
about
up your mouth and it auto-tunes it? No?
They have an app.
yeah, like
I tried to download
I am T-Pain. That came out on like iPhone 2.
I'm trying to get one for the fucking cat.
That's what's funny. Was there ever an iPhone 2? It was just like
Oh, it's
iPhone,
an iPhone
3GS, or 3G, and then 3GS, which is like
I had a 3G, dude. I waited in line for it. I spent long money on it, boy.
I think my first one was a.
There with this grass, boy.
I think my first iPhone was a 4. Yeah, I think my first one was a 4. I can't remember.
I got the 4S because it includes Siri.
I had a 4S that lasted me like 3 years, and then I got a 6S that lasted me like 3 years, and now I have an 11 Pro. And then I'm just gonna get the 14 in September because that's when my current phone will be paid off.
I'm going to get the 14 Pro or Max because I'm pretty pissed that my phone doesn't have a LiDAR sensor on it.
I just want
A
a
LiDAR.
phone that works. My phone, it's fully updated, isn't using much stuff, doesn't have a bunch of downloaded apps or files or anything.
Down to
Like every time I use Google Maps, it freezes up and I can't lock my screen. Lately, when I've been making phone calls, the light sensor, whenever you put it against your head, you'll pull it away from your head and the phone screen will never come back on. Even if you lock it, unlock it, turn it off, turn it back on. I have to like literally.
You have to shake it, dude.
I do, yeah. I had to do that, and I'd have to like sit there with the light sensor and just go crazy with it.
battery is degraded, and you've most likely got some kind of grease or a screen protector over your fucking proximity sensor.
No, I don't.
audio is
My screen
flipping.
protector doesn't cover it, and the battery life. Last time I checked it, it said it was at like 80-something%, which I read is actually really good for after 2 years. It was like 86 or something. Oh my god, dude! There are 6 rabbits in the road right now, and they all just chased each other. What the fuck?
There was 3 in our yard.
Yeah, there was just 6 of them that all just sprinted out of our yard. Those are the things destroy. I hate rabbits.
Connor, our flower beds.
Dude, a pellet gun, dude. Get a
No, that
pellet
was
gun.
for me
It's so
because
much
one of our beautiful flowers decided to.
You could be like Elmer Fudd. You could say, "I'm going so that it was rabbits."
I hate rabbits, dude. Fuck rabbits. Damn, I wish I had some lamb because I'd be out there with like, I'd be out there with a fucking 223 just blasting them, dude. Just waking up all the neighbors 6 miles down the road. Oh, dude, I have to tell you something super cool. I don't know if it's illegal or not. I actually did some research, but it might be illegal. But so you know how my grandpa died recently. He's okay. So he was a big game hunter in like Africa and stuff. So I got a whole elephant ear, an entire elephant ear.
Nice.
I don't know what to do with it.
You shouldn't say that on public access television.
Well, I'm not selling it. You can't buy, sell, or trade.
You can inherit anything.
But I don't. I tried
You're
doing
like
it.
a fucking nuclear firearm, dude. I swear.
I know, that's what I was thinking. It's like literally like somebody give me a nuke.
Zero
But
loss.
I also got some other cool shit. I'll send a picture of it privately, but it's pretty fucking cool. But yeah, I'm trying to plan what to do with it. I think I want to make. Well, it's like hanging on a wall. It's like just like pinned to a wall, which is a huge ass piece of leather, basically.
Nice.
But I was thinking about like my grandma was saying something like, "Oh, just make it into a table," and it's like, yeah, that's. You can't put stuff on that. But
shit.
I was thinking about like,
hey, dude, do a little mini border that's like fucking
Watch
an
band.
eighth of an inch tall, and then pour resin on top of it, and then just put like some modern looking steel legs on the bottom, and it would look sick.
Yeah, I actually thought about that. Or, well, you know how like you can get like 2 pieces of glass and like sandwich like stuff between it, make a table, but like. Thinking about doing 2 pieces of glass and then putting like some sort of stainless steel like little spacers in between, like an inch, and that way it's like not being crushed, it's like suspended, so it's like wrinkled but still like in glass somehow. And then that way if you want to do something different you can take it out. But
It's true. Yeah, the stainless steel spacers. Dude, you could do that. Yeah, like neodymium magnets or something, and then it'd be magnetic. You could stick it to the wall.
Yeah, it's just I could put it on the fridge. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask you, have you done any cool stuff to your Jeep lately?
No, but I'm gonna get a winch here probably by the end of the month. I'm gonna put that on.
Does your rear tire like make noise, or like the rear gate, like does it rattle at all?
No.
Mine does whenever I go over like uneven, or like if I go over a bump at an angle, it kind of
Go
creaks.
over uneven angles all the time in Florida.
Well, mine just makes so many rattles. I guess that's the point, though. Like Jeeps are like a tractor. It just everything rattles.
I think that the biggest problem that I have is with my fucking brakes squeaking. I need to get like brake extensions or something, dude.
Oh, they squeak? No, you need so in the front you need to do ceramic pads.
In the front, yeah, it's only
You need to do ceramic pads on the front, and in the back just do like the cheapest brake pads you can get. Because the back ones don't get very hot, but the front ones get insanely hot because they're little tiny brakes, and like when you have big tires, they actually make Terraflex makes a big brake kit, but the only thing is it won't work with the wheels you have. You have to have 17s that aren't stock because they have to be like thinner or whatever. But they come with bigger rotors, and then it doesn't come with new calipers, but it comes with new brackets. So it actually takes the pads and puts it on the outside. And I read that, I was like, oh, well, that doesn't make sense. But
I bet I could just get a set of cheap rims or something. Too.
Well, and yeah, it's like the same concept as if you spin a CD. If you try to grab it in the middle, it won't stop as easily as if you grab it on the very outside. So like the bigger the brake is, the easier it is. So like literally you'll just like tap the brakes, and apparently it's like super twitchy too. So like that's what I want with brakes, because even when I see a light turn red, like 100 yards in front of me, I have to like slowly ease into the brakes.
Yeah,
it brakes like a car, or else like everything goes like this, you know, like if you have shit in the back, it all flies into your front floor.
Yeah, you have to be very gentle on the brakes with a Jeep for sure.
But I'm ordering my lift kit this week. I tried calling these people to see if they had it in stock, because I tried to buy it from the actual manufacturer, and it said limited stock or like special order. And then I went to Quadratech. Oh shit, that's my work laptop charger. Went to Quadratech, and they said they had it in stock, but I wanted to call to confirm, and it was just like a hotline thing. It took a while, so I need to send them an email. But I'm going with the AEV, or American Expedition Vehicles. It's the Mopar one, but I need to figure that out. I put a new tie rod on my Jeep like a week ago, and I didn't get an alignment yet, and like my wheels are like slightly kind of like turned like towards each other, like toe in, I guess, like versus like that. And actually on a Jeep they're supposed to be slightly out a little bit, but mine are like together. So when I was on the highway driving back from that camp thing, I got behind this semi truck, and I got stuck in his like tailwind or whatever you want to call that, and it was just doing this weird like rocking. It wasn't death wobble, but like the whole Jeep was like shaking its ass basically. It was the weirdest thing.
Oh no!
But that's seriously like that tightened up the steering so good.
My rear sway bars were connected with a zip tie because I couldn't fit the bolts in, because I didn't have spacers in my rear wheels and they were on stock rims. And if you put the bolts in, the bolts would rub against the tires. So I drove it home with zip ties in the back, and the zip ties like immediately broke whenever I was on the highway. My whole ass end was just like, whoa. Oh, yeah. And I had to drive like 45 miles an hour home.
Well, I did that one time with the front, because like, yeah, I was off-roading somewhere, or yeah, I was at the lake. I was off-roading, and then I like disconnected the front sway bar because I don't have a Rubicon. So I just like unbolt it and then zip tie it up to keep it disconnected. And yeah, I was driving home, and like as soon as I got like a side wind, it was just like, whoa, shit! Like the whole thing, it feels like this. It's weird. It's like you're in a canoe all of a sudden.
You're just like riding on your springs, basically. Like,
yeah, Yeah, but I'm excited to see how this works because I really want something with a smoother ride. Because like I think I have rough country right now, and I put so many miles on it, just sucks. But that, and then oh yeah, that was the other thing I was gonna tell you. So I'm looking at getting some new wheels and tires, but I have no idea what to get. But dude, have you seen how expensive tires are now? Like the ones that I have on it, I got them for like $330 each. Yeah, like I got them like for $330 each about three or 4 years ago. Well, yeah, like 3 years ago. And now they're like $400 and something dollars. And it's like, damn, like I'm gonna pay at least $1,600 for new tires, and then probably another maybe $800 to $1,000 on wheels. It's like, well, for fuck's sake, dude! Like
That's the most expensive fucking parts. I swear. Yeah, wheels and tires. They're so expensive.
And that's the thing.
Yeah.
And it's like they're disposable. It's like stuff you go through.
Mm-hmm.
Like wheels and tires are the same price as getting like your engine rebuilt.
Oh, you should have bought the Tesla tires, dude.
They're only 10 grand and they track your movement. It's a great deal. Oh no, the government will give you a rebate if you tell them what your blood type is.
Yeah, dude.
I was just trying to buy tires. Why do you need my blood? Dude, that's what it's coming to.
Are you customer satisfied? 1 through 10.
Are you customer satisfied? Oh, you're not satisfied? Looks like you need more medicine.
Is it not sure? Not sure.
Not sure. I love whenever.
Not sure. No, it's not. No, sure.
I love whenever you take a survey and like the thing is just not sure, because if it's an anonymous survey, because I put not sure on everything, or it's like strongly agree, kind of disagree, or like in the middle it's just like not sure. I just do that on everything.
Yeah.
It's like shit. I'm not committing to this survey. It's like I'll give you the most benevolent kind of response I can, but it's not going to be affirmative in any way. But yeah,
so, Google survey app, and I'll just click random shit on it to like make it think that I'm Hispanic, basically, and I'll say that I like used cash when I went there, like ask for how I paid or something like that, and it'll say like, when did you go there last month? I just cashed out on PayPal, and I've made over $53 in the last 2 months.
Oh, and like reviewing shit?
Shitty little surveys, yeah. They just PayPal you. It's like Google surveys or something.
I do that for free fries at Wingstop every time.
Oh, yeah, dude.
And honestly, I usually have some shit to complain about when I get Wingstop. It's like
I use coupons, dude. Coupons are fucking dope. I get some and shit. And I get some fucking gang mail coupons. Like this one flyer that I got, it said if I go to this firework place, that's like a big firework place, they're open year round, and it's right down the road from where I live at. It's called Phantom Fireworks. They're open year round to the public. It's like they own like a pretty prominent corner section. It's like a big facility, and like everybody goes there. But I guess since I live around in the neighborhood, if I go in there, I get 50% off whatever if I bring the flyer in. I'm like, I'm gonna like load up on some fireworks, dog.
What's that Italian place you go to? It's like Deiano's or something. The drive-through Italian place.
Oh, Fazoli's. Fazoli's is so gang, dude.
I'll come down there and get that. I've always heard about it. I didn't know they had them in Florida. I thought, honestly, like it was only a Chicago or like Northeast thing. That's badass.
Apparently, no, Brad was freaking out about it because apparently they used to have one where he grew up in like Orlando as a child, and he used to go to it like as his like last day of school meal and stuff. Like he loved Fazoli's. And then they removed the one in Orlando, and then Florida hasn't had one in like 10 years, and then they just opened up one right next to my house. It's like the first one that's been here in like 10 years or something.
Oh yeah, that's the deal too. Is like here they keep opening up new coffee places, but never new restaurant chains. So like first, like remember we got Dunkin'. Now those are starting to pop up everywhere, and then like Dutch Brothers, that's starting to pop up everywhere. Same thing with like Del Taco and all that shit.
I see fucking, yeah, Dunkin' is going in fucking everywhere here in Florida. I've seen them open like probably 20 new stores.
It's not even good. I don't understand.
It's
Like,
not even good. No, I went there like twice and it was fucking shitty both times.
well, and it's the same price as Starbucks. It's not like it's cheaper. It's not like a McDonald's version. So if you want cheap coffee, just go to McDonald's. But then like they'll build a Dunkin'.
Better coffee
Usually
than
it's
a
Starbucks.
breakfast at a fucking gas station. Jesus.
Well, yeah, that's what it is. Isn't it like hot dogs in a blanket or something? That's all they have.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we have like an egg sausage biscuit, and it's like shittier than the one that you get at the gas station.
Yeah, it's like a Jimmy Dean. They just like took it out of the package and microwaved it. Well, same thing too. They also like they just have like prepackaged fruit bowls. It's like what the fuck? I can go to like the gas. Yeah, exactly. And not even a good gas station. You go to a freaking you go to a freaking Shell and get that shit. Like you know.
Yeah, dude. You can go to the Hope Corner store up here and get better.
Oh yeah, like any just like a
They
redneck
don't sell
place.
packs of beer. They only sell single beers there, but they
Oh,
do
right.
single packs of cigarettes.
I like the places
yeah,
that they say they have a deli in there, but all they have is like deep fried hot pockets. I love those. But dude, those always have the best like chicken strips, and it's like $1.50 for like 5 little chicken strips, and it's always so fucking good. I love
Yeah,
those.
there's a place right here that I've gotten fucking chicken at. It's so good.
I know it's cheap as fuck too. That's the deal. Like nobody, like if people are like, "Oh, I have one kid, I make $30,000 a year, and we can't afford to eat," and it's like, no, you don't have any excuse. You're just not going to the right places. Like you're just not, like literally. I could live like a whole month on like $200.
For $7. You know,
Yeah, it's like, oh, we went to Rib Crib or freaking. I love that. Like Texas Roadhouse is where poor people go, but it makes no sense because they should not be spending $30 on a meal. Like they should not be doing that.
no, but they're probably like, yeah, thank you for your service or whatever. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I do a tip there.
Yeah,
I love Roadhouse, dude. Since I moved to Florida, I've only had Texas Roadhouse like one time, I think. And it's when I drove 30 minutes to go to the one in fucking Brandon or wherever it's at.
Oh, you guys have a Morton's there, don't you? That's a good steakhouse. It's kind of like a Ruth's Chris.
Yeah, dude, there is one.
It's expensive, but it's really good.
Dude, there's a lot of dope steakhouses around here. Like,
What was the place that we were going to go last time? I forget. It's called like Gunther's or something.
I don't
Or
know.
Luther's, is that it? Luther's?
I can't remember.
It's like the best one in Tampa, like the best steak.
Burns is
Yeah.
like
Okay.
Burns is where you go.
That's what my dad was telling me. He's been there and he loved it.
We have to get a reservation, and you have to have like I don't know. I guess I have a couple of dress shirts that would probably fit you, honestly.
Oh no, I've got some travel shirts.
Yeah,
Or a jacket. Do you have to wear a jacket?
No.
What about a Tommy Bahama shirt?
You just have to look nice. No. You can't wear that there.
Okay. Well, so it's like country club attire, kind of.
No, you have to dress like you or just got off of work or something. I don't know.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah.
and you work at like a fucking bank.
Well, it's fine dining. Fine dining.
Yeah, fine dining is the perfect way to describe it. If you're not dressed fancy, they won't fucking sit you or something.
Unless you're famous and you're wearing a black turtleneck and just a black pair of jeans.
You can have a reservation and you can go there and they can be like, sorry, we're going to be unable to serve you tonight. And you have to leave if you're not dressed right.
That's hilarious.
I went there with a fucking jacket on, dude. I wasn't about to get kicked out of that bitch. It's a fancy ass place. You can bet I got a fucking 100-day-old steak there. 100-day air dried, dry aged
Yeah.
filet or something like that. 100 days. And I was like, oh, hell yeah, dude. I got to taste it twice that night because I also had like fucking 6 martinis while I was there.
Oh shit.
The guy came out with like, you know, those old e-cig droppers that have the glass tube and like the eye drop
Oh yeah. Mhm.
thing on it. He came out with the vermouth and he would put drops of vermouth inside of the glass for me because it would just be like stirred vodka or whatever.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, that's the deal. Is because like once it cools down, the vermouth fades, and then you have to add a little bit more. It's like a mixology place, you know, like one of those types of.
So weird, dude.
That's crazy.
I
It's been a while since I've had like an expensive meal. I need like a nice $200 dinner.
Dude, Ruth's Chris at the casino, that shit hits, bro. At the what casino?
They got good stuff, but see, that's the deal. Is like when it comes down, when it comes to steak, I can make a better steak.
It's a good steak, boy. I tell you what.
But that's the deal. It's like steak is kind of my thing. Like
Ruth's Chris is where you want to get pimp at, dude. It's like Charleston's or whatever. I don't know, not Charleston.
Well, Charleston's is all right. It's not special. I don't think. It's just it's like an expensive McAllister's. It's like not.
A McAllister's.
Well, like I don't know. I go there for lunch a lot, and
Charleston's ribs go fucking in, bro.
Dude, lately everybody I take to lunch wants to go get freaking sushi, and it's like $80 for lunch, like every time. And I don't use a credit card for this. I use my bank card for everything. I need to get a credit card just for work, because like, dude, I get 40,000 airline miles by now. It's insane. But it's like, dude, like, because I always ask people, do you want to grab a quick bite somewhere? It can be somewhere good. It doesn't have to be like a Subway or some shit. And they're like, yeah, let's go to the most expensive sushi place I can think of, or let's go get the most expensive barbecue I can think of. Like, and they go there and they order a $35 meal while I'm just getting like a $12 salad because I don't like eating lunch. Do you know what I mean? Like during the workday, it just like fucks up my whole day.
I eat breakfast in the middle of it. I eat my lunch at like 10 a.m.
Oh yeah, well that's what cracked me up. You were eating tacos this morning.
That's when I like to eat my breakfast / lunch, and then I eat my dinner like earlier in the evening, like around like 6 or so. 5.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll usually, I don't know. Most of the time, I usually eat at least something.
I don't like to eat first thing in the morning, dude. I hate eating first thing in the morning, but I get fucking hungry around 10 a.m.
Well, even if I eat breakfast, I'm still hungry around like 10 a.m.
I'm going to have food in my belly by 11 a.m., but it's going to be like between the hours of 10 and 11.
Yeah, I mean, I typically only eat twice a day. Like it'll be, like lunch, and then I usually don't eat lunch before like 11. But like I usually eat something by like 3 o'clock. But then I don't eat dinner until, I don't know, like right now, like 8 or 9 o'clock. I haven't even eaten yet. I've got some leftover potato soup, I guess I can make. But like I don't even start thinking about dinner until like right now usually.
Oh damn. Yeah, it's kind of late. I already had some green beans and a papaya. I made a can of green beans and I chopped up some hard salami in it. Well, I first started off, I chopped up some hard salami, I threw it in a pan with some seasonings and some butter, and then I put a can of green beans in there. I washed and strained them and mixed them around in the butter. I'll let all that get into a boil. Then I put pepper jack cheese on top of it, a little salt and pepper, and mixed it around to where the cheese was nice and melted. And I just ate that. It was sick. And then I had a papaya for dessert.
Damn. Do you guys have a good Mexican market there, or is everything like Cuban?
That's all that Brad's been eating at is this fucking one, like La Quinceañera or something. It's like some Mexican market. He goes there, he gets like a bunch of fucking rice, a bunch of fucking meat, a bunch of beans, and it's like fucking 2 days worth of food, and it's like $8.
Dude, they have the best meat. Like I've been getting all my taco meat at Las Americas, and it's like pastor, and then piccata, which is just like it's like the shit that they make ground beef with. It's just like chuck chunks, basically. But yeah, like on this camp out thing, I had enough stuff to make like probably close to about 40 tacos, and like it really didn't cost much. It was like less than $20 for everything, and I had like a ton of leftover stuff. Dude, they had that you could. Dude, when I was there, it was like it said like 18 limes for 99 cents. It's like, well, I don't need 18 limes. Like 99 cents is bad, but 18 limes, that's a lot of fucking limes. Like, and then same thing with cilantro. It was like I can't remember what it was. I think it was like either 6 or 8 bunches of cilantro for 99 cents. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do with all this cilantro? So it's like, but then like whenever you take only just a couple of them to the cashier, they like look at you like they're confused because they're like, it's on sale. Why don't you get more? Don't you have to cook for your abuelita? Or you know what I mean? And it's like, damn, like I never think about it that way, but like,
don't you have a sense of community, you fucking white?
well, right. All their stuff is designed to have a communal feast. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, that's the other thing. All the onions there are like this big. They're like softballs or bigger. It's insane. And then you go to Walmart and everything's like big, but it's not like big in the good way. It looks like it's just been plumped up with like antibiotics or something. Like a chicken breast should not be this big.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Chicken breast should be small. Chickens should be small. Chickens are birds. They're not supposed to have bigger boobs than most girls. That's insane.
Yeah, I know. Dude, there's some of those that are fucking this thick, bro. They're like fucking several inches thick, and it's like.
Well, that's what makes chicken gross to me. I hate when chickens.
Yeah, that's.
What is that? It's supposed to be like a hamburger, and that's it. It's supposed to be like a hamburger patty.
Ugh. That's just.
Oh, is your sweet girl over there tearing up your blinds?
Yeah.
Poor thing. She don't know what that is. She does a puppy dog.
I know. I had to swat her. She fucked up the blinds.
When's hurricane season?
I thought hurricane season was over. Look at that.
No, I thought hurricane season was over.
I thought hurricane season was over.
And I love how he laughs. He just goes, ah! And like he's like eating Doritos or some shit. But yeah, serious question.
I swear.
When's hurricane season?
I think it's like now, right?
I figured it's like in the fall, or like whenever the weather's changing, kinda, or El Nino or whatever it is. Nino, is it?
I think it's like runs through August. It's from like July to August. When is hurricane season in Florida? I'll ask that. When is hurricane season in Florida? June 1st through November 30th.
Oh, damn, that's like half the year.
That's literally
Damn. Well, I was about to say, it's weird that you guys had a like drought.
All right, here you go. Historically, peak time for hurricanes to strike Florida coast are during the month of August, but the coastal areas of the state are at risk throughout the entirety of the season.
Nice.
August is the worst time. So anything around, as you get closer to August, it gets worse. As you get farther away from August, it gets better.
Well, I guess we'll just come down there in late August. Well, and that's the deal, because I was looking at flights, and they're not like a reasonable price until late August.
I know.
Dude, I saw one, like it was for just the end of July, which is like still like literally a month from now, and this was just last week. Yeah, it was like the 24th
or something, probably.
Oh, well, yeah, round trip on that Breeze, even on Breeze, it was like it was either 414 or 441. I couldn't figure out what it was, but I was like, damn, last time I did that, it was like $200 round trip.
Dude, yeah, shit's gotten ridiculous with flying. And it's a zoo when you go there.
I don't know. I mean, I don't mind flying if it's a direct flight. Even if there's a delay, as long as it's a direct flight, I really don't care.
Yeah.
But it's from where, like from here, you can't. There's only like a few direct flights you can take, and it's all places I don't want to go. I don't want to go to freaking Connecticut right now. I don't want to go to Spokane, Washington. I don't want to go there. Like, you know, and that's about it. And then you can go to Denver, I guess. But it's like, if you're going to go to Denver, you need to just drive your car because, like, Denver is mostly driving. And it's only like 9 hours. It's not bad. Well, technically it's 10 hours, but with you lose an hour.
I'm trying to get another car, dude. That way I can have something for people that come over and stuff. I want to get like a pimp car that has like fucking 26-inch rims, like a donk. And
yeah, it's like your parents come over and you make them drive a 2003 Grand Marquis on 30s. And it's got the candy paint and it's got like
exactly. And it's got like Flowmaster exhaust and shit.
It's always playing Swishahouse songs at full volume. You can't turn it off.
It's like, yeah, hooked up to a USB with the stereo. It's completely encased in steel or something.
Oh, and the taillights don't work at all. They're always out. It's a car that somebody put 80 grand into, and then like the basic shit doesn't even work. Oh, it ain't got brakes. Nah, you just got to push down that pedal over there by the door. You just got to push that down when you come, and then make sure to pull up the handle before you're about to drive off. No, the seat stays all the way back.
It's super glued in place.
That'd be hilarious. Yeah, that'd be hilarious too. Like just like your freaking aunt comes into town to see the place. It's like, you can take my car.
Come down or something, or even my uncle, or
Yeah, that'd be hilarious.
Did even any of my friends. That'd just be fucking hilarious. Dude.
Honestly, you should probably just get a. I don't know. Just get like a 2005 4Runner. You can get those for like $7 grand. And they last forever. They're meant to be parked for like 6 months at a time.
Yeah,
that's what everybody gets on like army bases. They buy a car and then they just leave it parked for 4 years in the sun. Still parked right up.
I might put a little tarp over it or something.
You need a carport. Like literally where your driveway is, you need a carport right there. Because that way you could take the top off your Jeep and not have to worry about like the little random rainstorms and shit. It would just like just leave it off and like, oh, it's raining right now. I can't run to the store. I'll just wait 30 minutes. Like, you know, exactly. That's the deal. Like right now, like that's the deal. If you wanted it to rain in the middle of a drought, just take the top off your Jeep. It'll start pouring immediately. Every single time.
That's hilarious. Dude.
At least within 24 hours it happens. Because that's what I always do. Because I used to be able to park mine in the garage, but I started like buying too much shit, so like the whole garage is just filled up. And
I guess if I do one of those like carports, I'd be able to fucking get like a little fucking cable system to take mine off because it's like a little
pulley.
It's fucking so hard to take off by myself. Like it's almost impossible.
I spent about $120 building a pulley system to do mine like that. And I did that so I could save money because the ones you could just buy that actually work were about $150. And then so I spent $120 on something that did not work at all. It was so fun. I do not understand how pulleys work, dude. But like there's a kit you can simply buy and it's like $150. And like I just did not think that one out properly. So now I just have a ton of rope and a bunch of pulleys and like brackets and stuff I don't need.
You can make what do they call those? It's still like whenever you have a winch, a snatch block. You can make a bunch of snatch blocks out of the pulleys.
Well, the ones that you buy, so it has 4 separate pulleys that you put in the roof of your garage, and those are for like 4, like balanced out across 4 points of the bottom of your top. But then all 4 of those go on to like a snatch block that goes onto another pulley, and those have like 4 rings on it, or the 4 pulleys on the pulley system. I don't know what the fuck you call it, but anyways, it like reduces it all in half, and then it comes with like a kind of like a boat winch thing, like for a boat trailer. Comes with one of those crank handle deals, and then it just lifts it right off. And apparently, like with those pulleys, it like reduces all the weight down to where, like literally, you can just do it with one finger.
That's what my dad has. He has one of those cables with the fucking. It's like a handheld winch.
Oh, for bikes? Or for hanging shit up?
For anything. It's just a handheld winch.
Well, shit, you can get those at Harbor Freight for pretty cheap. I think they're like $20.
And then you
a carport wouldn't be expensive. Everybody has carports in Tampa.
You wouldn't have to get a pulley. You could honestly just hook up like a fucking 2 ropes underneath it, and then hook it all to the fucking top with a winch, and you just have to have something to screw it in.
Oh shit! Do you have, since you have solar panels, do you have a panel? Well, an electrical panel on the outside of your house that has a constant 12-volt output somewhere? Or is it only like 24 or 36 volt?
I have a 12-volt output on the outside of the house, yeah.
Dude, you could just hook up a 12-volt little electric winch for a 4-wheeler and just do that. Like from Harbor Freight, those are like $60. Just get one of those and you just click a little remote and then your top just goes up. Because like that's all you need is a 12-volt power source. You can just run a cable and bury it to like your backyard or whatever. That's actually not a bad idea because you could run all the lights. Dude, why aren't you running all your outdoor lighting and stuff off of? You should have just bought 12-volt lights and ran it off your solar panels. But I guess the AliExpress.
I'm honestly scared to fuck with it, but
no, the output it's it's not tricky. Like as long as it's a constant 12-volt output,
you have a bunch of scary pictures on the outside of it. Of like you may die. There is DC voltage that is unregulated or something.
Well, that's the deal. If you have a 12-volt output in there, which it should just have like 2 little posts, like a negative and a positive. Because like solar is typically 12, 24, or 36. 36 is usually like industrial applications, but that might be what you have. But it always has something that reduces it down to 12, and then that's what's converted to AC. So there should be a couple posts somewhere, and those is the same thing like a car battery.
No, I do have both of those. They're boxes. They're above ground. Those ones are above ground in their boxes, and one is the DC meter, and I have one that can basically, it's a conversion box and it converts DC into AC or something like that. And that like fucking tries to send it back to the city. It's all hooked up to my meter though.
Like backflow or whatever they call it. Yeah. But that also might be the thing. Maybe you're not allowed to hook anything up to it unless you call that contractor or whoever's like leasing it to you or whatever that program is.
Yeah, I didn't pay for the solar panels. They're not mine.
Well, right. They're basically leasing from you.
I'm not responsible for them in any way. I could go up there and take a hammer and smash them all, and I could call them and get a brand new stuff.
So they're like leasing your roof space, but instead of paying you cash, they're just giving you the solar panels and a little bit cheaper power bills and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. It's about
how much is
cheaper?
A third cheaper?
Yeah, I think I was paying, well, during the summertime, I typically was paying like $180 a month for like a power bill. But now I think I pay like $20 or so. But I also have to pay a $15 meter fee to the city.
Dude, that's nothing.
Because the city basically passed some fucking law that you have to basically.
Minimum service.
Yeah, some shit like that.
Well, same thing with water. Like even if you don't use water,
$35 as opposed to like where on my average home electric bill was like $100 or something like that.
Well, and all your stuff's electric, isn't it? Everything.
Yeah, everything. But now I do have a roommate as well. But yeah, it used to be like on average $100. But the guy was like, "Dude, I'll just give you 4 extra panels. I'll just write it on here right now if you sign this." I'm like, all right, sweet. So I have like a way bigger system than necessary for like the bills that I had. And plus then I had some pretty high bills and stuff too, because I like to keep it at like 60% fucking 4 degrees in my house at that point in time.
That is insane, dude. Because like our power bill during the summer is usually about like 160, and we have the same size house. Your place is all electric. Ours is just the AC is electric. Everything else is in the dishwasher, of course, but like everything else is gas. Besides, well, the dryer is electric.
The AC is what is going to kill you on that. The AC is.
But that's crazy. I think it's, your house is.
I have cinder. Yeah, it's cinder blocks. That's why.
Ours is just sticks.
Blinds, and I have good curtains on pretty much everywhere.
Ours is just a bunch of like 1x2s and a bunch of plaster. But at least the 1x2s are like stronger than the modern day 2x4 because all this is like old growth timber. That's the only thing I like about these old houses. But that's the deal. If you want to like, if you got to do some serious structural stuff, like you can't save that wood, and that's what sucks. Like if you want to take a wall out, you just lose all that good wood because it's been ruined by all the plaster and shit like attached to it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. I really want to build a house. That just seems like a fucking ton of work. Because I would, if I built a house, I'd have to contract it myself. Like I wouldn't.
If I was gonna build a house, I would invest heavily in insulation. I've seen what these motherfuckers can do with insulation.
Like a net zero house.
Florida? No. These people down here in Florida, they'll take your entire house, and before they put any drywall up or anything or any electrical up, they basically just like have a fucking foam party in your house. And your house is basically just like a foam fucking fortress. Once they put the wood floors down, once they put the drywall up, the ceilings on.
Well, it's good sound insulation too, because like it'll be thundering outside and you can feel it, but you can't hear it. But yeah, they use so on exterior walls, it's all open cell.
And then bugs can't get in from fucking like anywhere. And like, dude, if it floods outside or something like that, your house is basically protected up to your doorways. All you have to do is like sandbag your doorways and stuff. It's essentially like a 3D printed house, but it's just a normal house, normal construction. But this company comes in and they just fucking foam your house up beforehand, like all your walls.
Yeah, I like that because that's the deal. Like I watch a lot of This Old House, and R value though. That's like basically the retention rate of temperature. But like the typical house, like a regular external wall structure with 2x4s, maybe has a house wrap on it, like that Tyvek sheeting, and then like some siding, maybe a matrix for water drainage, and then your external paneling, siding, whatever. And that only has an R value of like R20-ish. But then, like, if you do all closed cell or on the exterior walls, you do open cell foam because that way, if there is a wall leak, it doesn't go around the foam. It drains through the foam, and that way you won't. It lets air into the foam, so that way it doesn't like mold up and shit like that. But that if you do it with like instead of 2x4s, you do 2x6s on your external walls. It has like an R value, and then on the outside of the wall, on top of your sheathing and your Tyvek, you do that reflective board that's like foam board. And you an R value of like 60, and then that's like the true net.
You have to do it right though. You have to put your baseboards. You have to have like a fucking 2x8 to basically fit it, and you have to cut it to like a 2x7 if you want to.
Yeah, it's cool because like
that extra metal sheathing. I've seen somebody do that, and then it's like I've seen This Old House, dude. What do you think I watch on the weekends, dog?
Well, my house, like if I build a house, it has to be like super structurally like awesome. Like honestly, I'd like a full concrete house, but then again, you're talking about if I just wanted a 3,000 square foot house, concrete basement that's piered, and that's the other thing. Whenever you have a full concrete house here. Like, unless you're building on bedrock, you have to spend about 50 grand just in piering everything. You have to like drill tons of holes that are like 40 feet deep. They have to pack them with gravel or sand, gravel, then concrete all the way up with rebar. That's what my parents had to do, and it added like an extra 120 grand to their house. But they also wanted to do a basement, and if they wanted to do a basement in the house, like do a walkout basement, it would have been an extra like $200,000. So but that's the deal. Like, if you have a concrete house, first of all,
It's
bulletproof.
OSHA approved, dude. My grandma can show you how to build a fucking basement for $60.
Well, see, that's the deal, though. Is like, if I build something, if I spend more than $500,000 on a house,
Find
chances
some
are I'm
wood
not
and you just
forever.
dig out a hole with a shovel, dude, in the side of a little hill.
Well, that's what my uncle did. He built his own house, and it was like it was like 20 years old, and it was still holding up pretty well. But then again, you can tell, like, I don't know, if you build stuff in sandy soil, it's just like you really have to do it right. That's why everything in Florida is like kind of built on those cinder blocks instead of a foundation, because you can build a foundation, it'll work out great. But even with piers, you have to deal with like I forgot what they call it, but it's like, oh, it's like a reverse sinkhole. It's where all the piers are hanging, like this is your foundation, all the piers are down this way. But eventually the weight of those piers start to suck together, and then you have like bulges in your foundation. But that stuff can happen with a cinder block foundation, but it's super easy to correct that with a cinder block foundation. You literally just jack up the house on that corner where it's fucked up, tear all that cinder block out, get it back normal and level, drop the house back down, you're done. And then that's like a $2,000 repair versus a whole new foundation repair, which could be $400,000. Like,
Yeah,
that's kind of the way to do it. But then again, you have to deal with shit like you walk on your floors and it's like echoey, you know, like that's how my house is. Doesn't feel as solid. And honestly, in high winds and hurricane, it would suck. But flood, it would be great because everything's elevated, you know. There's a lot of pros and cons, but that's the deal. If I built like a smaller house, I'd probably build it that way. I'd build a house like it was built 100 years ago.
yeah.
But if I were to build a larger house, like I would have to build it like a office building or something like very sturdy. I don't know. But like I think it'd be cool if I built a house and then like 300 years from now some kids find it in the woods and they're spray painting it because it's like still standing. It's all concrete. You know what I mean? Like that's like, you know, it's more of a legacy than just building some like piece of shit like little ticky-tacky house, you know?
True. Yeah, I think that cinder block construction is where it's at.
Yeah, because you can fill it too. You can like the only difficult thing is running your wiring, because if you want to move it later, but you can also counteract that with like all your exterior walls. You just run like a false wall in front of it, like with 2x4s, and that way you always have a 4-inch gap between that and the concrete. It might make your interior dimensions smaller, but you can also just build your house 4 inches wider if you need to. You know.
Dude, people sell cinder blocks for like, if you buy them in bulk, like 50 cents a piece. And you can basically build a house for like, you can build a fucking square and you don't even have to concrete them together. Like you can just build a fucking square cinder block.
Well, did you know that
for really cheap.
Before the concrete cinder blocks, they used to make them out of terracotta. Like, you know, all those old buildings that they're like cinder blocks, but they're like red.
Mm-hmm.
I love those. And I guess those are super expensive now. But if you go into like any old building in Tulsa or like an old restaurant where they took the sheetrock down, it's always those blocks. And I love those. Those look so fucking cool. They even do like ceilings like that. That's how they used to do concrete floors. They would do like those terracotta blocks across the ceiling and then pour concrete on top of it. It's like, how the fuck are those even holding up? But apparently terracotta is like the strongest and like densest form of concrete, but it's like natural. But then all the mines are used for clay mines.
Terracotta, isn't it just like iron or something?
It's clay. It's just iron rich clay. Yeah. It's the same thing as bricks. It's the same thing that they make masonry bricks out of. But that's the other thing is like making a house solid out of bricks. Like you don't even need insulation. If you have a foot wide brick wall, like it will take like 2 years, like as long as the inside of your house is heated, it would take like 2 years of below freezing temperatures for that cold to reach the interior wall, because like the grout is like the most permeable thing about it. Like bricks are just like super solid. Like they retain, like if you ever put a brick in a fire and you pull it out, it's still hot like 2 or 3 days later. Yeah. It's crazy. Like
they retain the heat a lot.
But that's the deal too. Well, and I think you guys have like cheap concrete.
Shit in like Arizona, there's like some sort of trash city there that people fucking live at. They build homes out of trash or something.
You're
It's
just
like-
talking about the homeless.
No. It's like a regenerative thing. It's like they have some sort of whole fucking .org about it or something. You know what I mean? .ngo website about it, but they put a bunch of fucking tires and they like line them up on the outside where like the sun sets like in the evening. So I guess that would be in the fucking east, but or west or whatever the fuck. Anyways, they fill up all these tires with like dirt and then they like make some sort of dome out of it. And the tires, they're just like old used tires. They're like basically by the time that it gets cold in the desert, the heat is being drawn in from like the fucking because they soak up all the heat or whatever, and it's like a big heater wall, and then like the cycle repeats the next day where it's like cool and stuff, and like they don't need any air conditioners in there. I swear it's like Vice. I saw this shit on YouTube. It's not Vice, but it's like some sort of garbage city where they made bunch of fucking trash houses.
Well, I for some reason on Instagram I keep getting suggested all of these like third world engineering pages, and it's always like, oh look, they made a skylight out of a water bottle, but their house is made out of other water bottles. But you know what I mean? It's like, but I've seen that before too, like on a TLC, like back in the day, they used to have a show called Weird Wheels, which was like where people made cars out of strange shit and would just drive them around. Like somebody, it's like, my car looks like a banana. And then like somebody else's car would be like a submarine or something like that. And then they also had something with houses. Like somebody would live in like a geodesic dome. And then somebody else is like, oh, this is a yurt, but I made it solely out of like calf skins or some shit. But yeah, they had something like that, where it's somebody that had it made out of tires.
And a bunch of chinchillas.
Well, they used to make bottles that would like stack on each other, or like glass bottles that would stack into each other, and they would turn into building blocks, like during like some war in South America or some shit. And you could like literally, like these bottles that water would come in, you could like stack them up and build a house out of the bottles. Pretty neat. I love that third world shit. Especially the two kids, everything and always tapping shit. They're always patting down mud and making a hot tub. They're always like this.
When they're set up times 6.
Yeah, and it's like, whoa, where'd all that water come from? It's like,
There's some dude trucking water back and forth.
and you just hear their voice, and it's like, I love this shit.
God damn
Dude.
it. I'm gonna make some ramen noodles. I feel like I've eaten healthy enough today.
Oh fuck yeah, dude! I have some of those. Oh, dude, you know they have completely different ramen at the Mexican supermarket.
Yeah, I've seen
The
them.
same brand, but they have way better flavors. I had one that was like fajita shrimp or something. It was ceviche. That's what it was, ceviche.
Oh hell yeah,
Dude, it was bomb.
that sounds lit.
It's like 12 cents a thing too. Or well, no, the little dry packages were like 12 cents. The ones like that, the cups are about 40. But I think that's still the only thing you can buy that's like a meal that costs less than like 50 cents. Like a pack of gum you can't even get for less than 50 cents.
Oh, wait. You want to know how bad inflation is, dude? You should look at the price of ramen noodles.
Well, Arizona iced tea is like $1.69 now, bro. And they didn't even change the cans. Like the cans still say 99 cents on them, but then the price tag says 169.
That sounds insane, dude.
Oh, what was the other thing? Dude, there was something else I noticed today that wasn't. Oh, cat food. So I buy little cans of Blue Buffalo, and I used to buy like the little tiny cans because I would use one of those per day, and I didn't like to have just like one of those fat cans in my fridge for like 4 days with plastic wrap on it. And but then I noticed, oh, the small cans are $1.29. The big cans that have almost double the stuff, the cat food in it, are $1.79. I'll just start buying the bigger ones. Fuck it. I don't care if it stinks up my fridge like tuna. I'll just buy that. It's cheaper, whatever. Well, they went from, in the past 2 weeks, like the last time I bought a bunch of cat food, it went from $1.79 and now it's $2.39 per big can.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, so it's like, damn. So I'm spending, let me think about that. So I'm spending like, on top of the bagged food, I'm spending like $60 a month on cat food and then probably $20 a month on litter.
Dude,
and I just have one cat.
Cat an outside cat, maybe.
Nah, she's too sweet. She wouldn't like going outside. She actually did get out.
I bought a 50-pound bag of dog food from my local feed store. It's called I forget the name of it. God damn it! It's on 7th Street. It's on my house. But this feed store, dude, they sell like a big pack of fucking calf bones. It's just random cow bones. And it's like 45 cents per bone. And it's just like a big bucket of like rotting cow limbs.
Well, have you ever bought a...
Have you ever my dog and she loves them? And then they sell these big fucking... It's like ground chicken with some fucking rice and other dog shit thrown in it. 50 pounds for $40. 50-pound bag for $40. And it's like top quality.
Well, yeah, that's because that's my grandpa always had bird dogs, and that's what he would always just get, like Bill Jack, you know, like the refrigerated shit from, or it's like frozen dog food from Walmart, and that's all it is. It's just a bunch of meat scraps that are ground up and like dehydrated. But that was what I was about to tell you. There's this place here called Prairie Creek Farms, and it's just a little farm out towards, I think it's by like Sapulpa or something like that. But they have a ton of pigs, chicken, beef. They grow like vegetables and stuff. But it's just like a small family farm, and they just they only sell their stuff like seasonally. So once they harvest something, then they'll sell it online. But they make dog food. So like whenever they grind up all their pork and beef and chicken, like all the fat, all the bones, all the tissue and stuff, and they mix in like a little bit of meat, they just grind that up like in a meat grinder, and then they like dehydrate it, and they just sell it as dog food. And then, yeah, I think it was like, but it's like some bougie ass dog food. It was like, for a 10-pound bag, I think it was like $20-something or something like that. Jeez. But see, that's the deal. If you have like a pet that you care about, like you want to feed them the best stuff so they live the longest. Because like if you're just feeding them like the cheapest dog food, it's not even meat. It's like cornbread, or it's like cornmeal and shit. And dogs are supposed to have, like, you want to feed them like meat, you know, like that's what they're meant to eat. It's like meat and grass, basically.
They love meat, dude.
Well, they're not supposed to eat grain. Like dogs don't eat grain. They eat grass and meat. That's it.
Yeah, grain is not really good for them. Yeah, my dog eats a lot of grass. It's weird. I thought.
Well, they like it. Because you always see them doing that. You always see them like, oh, they're eating grass. They're probably going to throw up soon, but then they never do. Like afterwards, they're like happy, you know?
Yeah, they're just like, oh, I think they do that when their stomach hurts or something. I don't know.
Or maybe whenever it's like, oh, I ate too fast. I need some grass to like, you know, help me digest or something. Maybe that's what it is, because like they need fiber every now and then. It's like an old lady.
I still think about this to this day, but my neighbor, Frank, just was like, I was like, yeah, I don't know if she's really feeling too well. And he goes, well, you just let it eat some grass. And he said it in like such a weird voice that echoes in my brain. Like, yeah, just let it eat some grass. Like, what? This guy is crazy.
That's hilarious. That's how like one time my grandpa skipped out of we were on like a family vacation, and we were going to go on this canoe trip. And he was like, no, I can't. I got to pass a bowel movement because he has Crohn's. And he's like, no, I got to spend all day trying to poop, so I can't go on the canoe trip. Yeah, I'm really hoping that's not a hereditary thing, or else I'm going to be fucked. That's one thing I pride myself on is like a nice, speedy, efficient shit. You know, like
Yeah.
I'm in and out of there within a couple minutes. I don't poop in public unless it's an emergency. So I just get it done in the morning. If I need a follow up, I wait till I get home from work. You know,
Yeah, true.
old school. Dude, I saw the best meme ever today, and it's so funny because like every time I see this shit, I laugh, and I'm like, God damn it, I shouldn't laugh at this. I'm almost 30 years old, but I love seeing that stuff where it's like when you take a mega dump and it only requires one wipe. It's like, and it's this dude. He just starts like levitating, like he's God, you know. Like I love that shit. That stuff still just kills me, man.
Oh my gosh, dude.
What
That's fucking hilarious.
are you cooking over there?
Dude, ramen noodles.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Oh yeah, that
Of
that
the
bread I bought was disgusting.
what?
That bread I bought, that I was like, oh, it's Mexican bread I found at Walmart.
Oh,
It was
wasn't good.
horrible.
Oh no.
It was like it tasted like a shitty dinner roll. It wasn't like sandwich bread. I literally, it came with two big ass loaves. I took one bite of one and I immediately just threw the entire thing in the trash. I was like, fuck this.
Damn, that's ass, dude.
Yeah, it pisses
Yeah.
me off. Because, like,
Brad will normally buy those Cuban loaves or Puerto Rican bread, and he'll be like, "Oh, dude, I saw you buy this, and it's so good." He'll just eat the whole thing. He just eats a whole.
well, that's what I expected this to be, and it just was terrible, dude. It was like the worst. It was lower quality than just like normal, like Walmart, like sub rolls. Like just and those, dude, regular Walmart like hoagie rolls are fucking good. Like they know how to like because that's all they know how to make is like hoagie rolls.
Yeah.
They don't know how to make anything else.
Yeah, I don't know. I fuck with Walmart sometimes, but not very often.
Oh yeah, same here. I never go there. I only go there if it's like, okay, I gotta get a bunch of food for other people. Like if it's just for me, I always buy. Like I usually go to Reese's or sometimes I go to Sprouts or yeah, the Mexican place. That's usually where I've been going lately. But
The Mexican places are where it's at, dude.
Walmart's got gross ass meat. All their meat's fucked up. Like it's not. It doesn't look real. Cause like that's the deal. You go to like a legit place, and then the meat you buy.
Dixie recently, when Dixie's meat has been getting fucking weird.
Well, what's weird is like Walmart doesn't package their meat on site. They get it delivered and it's already packaged. And it also has an expiration date that's always like 2 weeks out. But if you go to a place like Reese's where they actually package their meat like every day, it expires usually within like 3 days. So that it's like, and it's also a lot more of a deep red color, like all their beef is. Same thing with their pork. Pork isn't supposed to be beige; it's supposed to be like a deep pink. And at Walmart, like they have beige chicken, beige pork, and then the beef is always like really pink. And it's like you'll get a good thick cut steak there, and you cook it up, and it's not even like bloody at all. Like you like a fresh good steak should be bloody. Like that's how it's supposed to be. Or like like you cut through a steak and there's still like a blood vessel there, and it like lets out a bunch of like purple juice. Like that's how a steak should be because that's like technically fresh meat. But Walmart, it's like, wow, this cow didn't even have any blood vessels. Like, it's so weird.
I know, right? It's very strange.
And I'm not like a meat expert. Look, I know that. Well, see, that's the deal. It's like I don't know much about meat, but I do know it comes from an animal. And the shit that I saw is not something that would come from an animal. Like the stuff at Walmart is like.
So I've been watching this YouTube channel, and it's called fucking U.S. Government Archives or something like that. I think. Let me make 100% sure of that. U.S. National Archives. I watched this one interview of Gerald Anderson in '97, an interview of Jed Roberts in Maryland, an interview of Glenn Davis. I watched all these crazy interviews where it's just locals that were around Roswell, New Mexico, just like random farmers and like cattle ranchers, just random people that lived around the area, and the some of the shit that they said really fucking will freak you out. It's like,
Are you talking
oh,
about
yeah.
Glenn Dennis? Glenn Dennis, the Roswell guy?
There's a lot of Roswell people, but there's just interviews on
the guy that saw the aliens. He saw them like in the experiment surgery room thing where they were like doing autopsies on
I've
aliens.
seen his stuff before, but I saw like I've probably seen 80 people talk for like 15 minutes apiece of just random farmers and stuff that like is like found footage essentially.
Yeah, and see, there's so many variables with UFO stuff too, because and this is something that I just learned, well, it's probably a couple of years ago, but it's not like shit that you would see on History Channel, because History Channel just likes to like rile people up. But this was, it was something showing like the trends with during like the Cuban Missile Crisis era, like, and the Korean War. So like the 1950s and then early 60s, that's when actually UFO sightings spiked. And that was also during the time of development of the SR-71 Blackbird bomber, which was like a very, very unique shape for the time. So like during just that era in general, you can kind of discount a lot of those sightings because of like, military activity. However, that does not explain all the stuff that goes back, 50 years prior to that, 50 years after that, right? Maybe after that, but like not before.
Is crazy. All of them, like every single one of them, is like, oh, Margaret knew this one farmer dude that was the neighbor, and she was with them on the road, and they went up to the gate, and he was just going there to return some things that he found because he was like, oh yeah, it's like a good thing. Like I found like, and they all described it as like tinfoil, but it was like super kind of like strong, and like if you crumpled it, it would immediately go back into its shape. So I got like a bag full of it, and like 4 people all like witnessed it, and they like stopped by and showed Mary's house. And during the interview in 1991, that they asked for this bitch's number. Oh yeah, how could we contact Mary and ask her? Oh, you can call her. What's the number? You want me to write it down? No, just say it on camera. We'll record it. And it says the full number of this lady Mary. That's her next door neighbor. And they go and interview her afterwards. They're like, yes, that's her home number. And they go and interview her afterwards. Totally fucking testifies to the story too. Like they have all this. It's really damning. Like there's like definitely aliens that landed. There's definitely aliens.
Well, you probably have you seen the Joe Rogan interview with Bob Lazar?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, no, that guy like is legit. And you can tell he's telling the truth because like his entire life was sabotaged because of what he exposed. Like they tried to convince his wife that he was cheating on her and like all this crazy stuff, dude. And like, and UFOs only breaks the surface because like honestly, I feel like if there are aliens, they've been here all along and they've been walking among us forever. If there's not aliens, and that actually changes like an entire dynamic. Like one way or another, it doesn't change my life personally, but like it really does affect a lot of stuff like at a bigger scale because like the materials science is like the biggest thing, like the metallurgy involved, like the different elements that we're not aware of. There could be so many different resources that we just don't know about that we could be using right now that could solve a lot of problems. That's the only thing I care about. Like, obviously, if there's aliens, they're not hostile because we haven't been destroyed yet.
You just got to look exactly where all of the evil people are spending their money. And where all the evil people are spending their money is in, like, healthcare industry.
Or destroying, developing countries. It's one or the other. Or just destroying.
Why are they doing all this?
And coming back like, oh, we can fix this with pharmaceuticals. We can fix the country we just bombed with a bunch. If you guys just took this malaria medication, we wouldn't have to bomb you. You know, stuff like that. And they do it in the name of peace. But dude, another thing that I've been like looking into recently is terrorism and how it doesn't really exist organically. Like, well, shit, if we're streaming, never mind. I won't get into this. But basically, most terrorist attacks that have been used to form some sort of further legislation upon, like the building of the TSA after 9/11. That's just one example. The National Firearms Act after the Los Angeles or the West Hollywood shootout. After that became the National Firearms Act of 1986 or 4, one of those. But and then also like the Oklahoma City bombing, which was clearly an inside job. By that fact, I mean literally because the bombs were probably inside the building, not outside. And then that brings you to 9/11, which is obviously like, yeah, Bush did not do 9/11, like obviously, but obviously 9/11 was very fishy. There's a lot of, but see, that's the deal is like so many people are like, oh no, dude, it's just a coincidence. Didn't you know that coincidences do every single bad thing is because of a coincidence? Weren't you aware of that? Coincidences are normal. That's why you got ran over by that car. It wasn't because you stole the keys to that person's car and found their spare key and ran you over with the car you tried to steal. It was just a coincidence. You know, it wasn't because you paid a bunch of money to that guy that was crazy and you trained him how to use weapons that he hurt a bunch of people. That's crazy. You know? And there was literally even the Boston Marathon bombing. That was dude, those kids attend. Do you remember the thing? I told you this the other when we were hanging out a weekend before last. I was telling you there was that like terrorist training camp ran by the CIA in New Mexico.
Yeah.
And they were training young kids that were first generation Americans, meaning that they were all, children of immigrants, to basically conduct school shootings. Isn't that? And like literally that all just disappeared. Because I remember that was in the news for about 6 hours and then it disappeared. And, that was back in like 2014, 15. It's fucking insane, dude. We're talking about concrete houses. Shit, that might be your best bet at this point. Just have a concrete house. It's bulletproof. At least from the outside.
I think that block construction has to be the future.
Yeah, dude, because that's the thing. Like, they're trying to pass all these red flag laws. Like, literally, your neighbor can just see you taking your gun to the gun range in a case, putting it in your vehicle, and then call the cops on you and say, hey, you need to SWAT this person because I saw them with a legally possessed firearm and they were going to go train with it, stuff like that. Like, and literally they can just throw you in prison without ever giving you a trial and shit like that.
Or they can be like, oh, you've taken a certain medication before. Not allowed to own a firearm. They can seriously do that.
Right. And see, that's something that, like, remember whenever, like, they're like, if you get your medical card, you can't have a concealed carry permit or some shit like that?
Yeah.
That's crazy because, like, I've never heard of somebody, like, shooting somebody because they're high. It's usually because they're on crack or some shit.
I know.
Like, super agitated. Like, if I was super stoned and like somebody tried to rob me at gunpoint, I'd just be confused. I'd be like, "Oh, that's funny, man. Like, this is a joke, right? Like, like I wouldn't take it serious. If I was drunk, I'd start, at least I'd probably get myself killed. I don't know. I think laughing in somebody's face gets you killed too. I'm not too sure.
No. I think I just said you're friendly.
Lauren's in here shit talking like hardcore.
I was gonna see how much longer you would be shit talking.
What?
What? What are you even saying?
I'm asking how.
I'm eating ramen noodles, motherfucker.
Oh, Lauren's trying to start shit. But
Well,
oh, did you see that? So that place that had the big school shooting, they're tearing it down already.
oh, Eulalie in Texas or whatever?
Yeah, did you see that? They're tearing. That's what happened with Sandy Hook. That's what happened with Waco. Why do they tear down places immediately where something bad happened? They did that with Oklahoma City, World Trade Center. Well, it kind of took care of itself. Pentagon, not so much, because they did have a lot of critical infrastructure. However, the 1/5 of the Pentagon that did get hit happened to just coincidentally contain some very vital information about what was it? Close to $1 trillion missing from the Department of Defense budget that was unaccounted for. And that's where that accounting department specifically was housed. Like, it's just a coincidence. It's just, there's nothing going on. Live in your pod and eat the bugs and be happy. Eat the ramen that's getting more expensive and be happy. Suck the juices. Put extra water in there so you have more broth.
Yeah, that's what I did, Dad.
That's what I'm saying, man. Something weird's happening. Like, for sure, something.
I think
it's just like evil. Something evil is happening.
Since 1897, since William McKinley was funded by Carnegie and Ford to the tune of what's equivalent to $20 million to today standards. Keep in mind that Carnegie's and the Fords had so much money that Carnegie had 1% of America's total GDP was one person. And they had so much money that they were able to manipulate an election, and they've been doing it ever since.
Okay, so McKinley, he was
assassinated in 1901.
Dude,
they got rid of him.
I think we're kind of operating on the same wavelength right now because I was actually about to order this book, and it was about the 1901 Buffalo World Pan American Exposition, which was kind of like a World's Fair, but it was in Buffalo, New York, and that's where McKinley, his assassination attempt happened. He was shot, and then about a week and 2 days later, he died. And
I thought his death was very mysterious, but I first heard about his death while watching this history video, and it was like talking about how fucking Carnegie and Ford basically funded him to get elected over William Bryan, who was the Democrat running.
Right. And that was Zachary Bryan. Or William, you're right. Zachary
Bryan is something Bryan, and his last name was Bryan, and he was like basically fuck the big factory giants, like they're screwing you out of your wages. And then Ford and Carnegie got scared. They're like, oh shit, like we're gonna lose all of our employees. And they basically fucking funded newspapers to be like, Ford and all these steel mill jobs will go out of business if Bryan gets elected. So these people were like, oh, fuck, I don't want to lose my job, so I'm feeding my family.
That's what it is. The Sherman Act
paid for all of this like campaigning to happen, and they've been doing this stuff ever since. There's like 13 families, and they own every fucking single country except for Russia.
So that's something I actually just wrote that down because I need to look more into that because this is something I did not piece together. So McKinley, 1901, right? 1890, the Sherman Act was passed, and that was the original antitrust legislature, and that's exactly what you're describing, is the antitrust. Like two industries pairing together and forming a capitalistic monopoly versus a government monopoly. So essentially, they were competition to what the government was trying to provide. So the government immediately shut them down. They had to basically wager with the government, bribe them in order to like be like, hey, we're going to work together. And then 11 years later, something happened where, hey, dude, you were the guy that shook the hand on this deal. You did not follow through. boom, it's duel time. We're just going to show up and shoot you with a little, whatever you call that, a round projectile, like basically a, like a little pellet. And yeah, that's fucking cool, dude. I need to look into that.
They frame the people that apparently shoot these people. That they frame the people that shoot the president. Like the CIA kills them, basically.
Yeah, let me go grab this book really quick. Hold on.
Wow, that was some real fucking good ramen, dude. I haven't had ramen.
Here it is. So this is a really good book as well, because at all these World's Fairs or whatever, apparently all of these people that were in really high power constantly had assassination attempts. And this is a book my mom gave me called The Devil in the White City. And the World's Fairs were set up to show, like, man's ingenuity, like electricity and stuff like that. The other one was called the other one was called like something in the Rainbow City, and that was the one in Buffalo because it was the first World's Fair to feature colored light versus just white lights or incandescent lights. But this one is all of this. This is from 1893. So this might actually, I need to read this. I haven't started reading this yet. She just gave this to me about a week ago. But I might find out more about that as far as, because the World's Fairs, I feel like that's where those types of trusts and things like that were formed. It's like
they were meeting and stuff.
It's a networking event. It's like the world's first LinkedIn, basically.
Or the fucking Davos group or fucking Bohemian Grove.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that too. It's a great place for secret societies to meet up and thrive as well. And see, that's the thing is, like, you always hear Skull and Bones. Skull and Bones is a patsy. That's a thing that was put out there to counteract. It's like, oh, secret society, you just mean some guys that went to Harvard that occasionally will drink like rabbit's blood. I mean, come on. Yeah, that's weird, but they're not controlling the world. It's like, yeah, that's put out there as, what would you call that? Agitprop or controlled opposition or astroturfing. That's what it is, astroturfing. So it's like, you put a bunch of stuff out there in the public that's kind of
heard that. Yeah.
That's as far as it goes. That's as far as it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, a good example of astroturfing is Jeffrey Epstein. That was in the public versus the rest of Congress that's probably participating in pedophilia. Pizzagate. Like, on one side is Jeffrey Epstein, which is confirmable, and we know it happened. We don't know why it happened or what's going to happen to the people that proliferated it. But
nothing. It's the CIA, dude. The CIA killed MLK, dude.
Yep.
The fucking CIA killed fucking Martin Luther King Jr.
Well, you think about it, it's like, why do we have a CIA if they consistently fuck everything up? They started the Vietnam War.
Legislation, there's a court case about it that you can look up.
They started the Vietnam War. They started the Cuban Missile Crisis with the Bay of Pigs. They literally started, like,
so many wars.
Confirmably 4 out of the last 6 U.S. involvements in some sort of conflict or war. That wasn't just completely like by proxy, so like funding somebody. Because technically we're running a war in Yemen right now by handing all of our defense dollars to Saudi Arabia, who is conducting that war. So that's a proxy war. But like, the U.S. has confirmably had at least like 6-7 wars in the last 50 years that are an active combat zone that the U.S. created without congressional approval. Isn't that insane? Is that like a war cannot be declared unless it's approved by Congress, and that hasn't happened since World War II. And technically that didn't even happen because they put it to an emergency vote, and there wasn't the required amount of members to vote on it, but they did it anyways. So technically that vote was it's not unconstitutional because that's not directly described in the Constitution, but it was not done. I forgot what it's called, but like basically it was not done the properly way. So technically, if you want to get back to it, like the World War I was the last time Congress declared war. And we've been in more wars than I have appendages since then. We've been at war since me and you have been alive.
Yeah. Easy.
It's fucking wild. Yeah, see, that's what's wild.
It's just to create wealth. I think that's what it is. Maybe it's to create wealth.
Right. It's not too at this point it's like, "Oh, we're going to war in a country that was overthrown by somebody we were allies with 20 years ago." It's like, "Oh, you're just furthering the interests of the allies you had 20 years ago. That's all you're doing. You're just helping them expand their empire. Then eventually you're going to flip on them whenever they get a little bit too big because the US has to control the entire world, that type of shit." But yeah, it's fucked up, dude. Like the dynamic of like just foreign relations in general just suck because it's like foreign relations. I never met those people. Why don't you have a relationship with them? I don't. Honestly, like I'm sure that's great. Live your life over in Germany. I don't care what you're doing. I don't need to fucking be concerned with it because I don't live there. I don't live anywhere close to there. I don't know about German people just walking over here into my yard. Fuck no. I got to worry more about people from fucking Owasso or some shit. Like like I don't care about Germans. And let's just say that they turn into like another maniacal populace of murderous people. Like it's even like North Korea. Why are people worried about North Korea? Why are people worried about China? China is nothing but a financier. They don't have any ground power. Why do you think they've spent the past 10 years talking about how they want to take over Taiwan and they haven't done a goddamn thing?
That's a good point, but I think that Chinese probably have some sort of weird technology. You think about alien encounters that we've had in the U.S. Now think about alien encounters that they've had in China. What if they were able to harness some sort of technology and make like a fucking death ray?
Well, that's the deal. That's a
Or an
perfect
antimatter gun.
well, that is the
If they have
threat.
an antimatter gun, they could just suck the U.S. up into a little ball, basically.
Well, like the entire threat of China is all based on conjecture because it's like if we don't have a boogeyman like China, then how are we going to get all of these defense costs approved and these massive budgets, these $1 trillion budgets? How are we going to get those approved if we don't have anybody to fight against? And honestly,
Industry. We need the steel workers.
well, and that's what cracks me up is like, dude, okay, have you noticed how like whenever somebody's like a state's like Texas, they're like, fuck it, we're gonna secede again. Like we're just gonna secede. And that gets tossed back and forth every like 30 years or so whenever something happens. Same thing with Florida. They're like, oh, we secede. And then like the average person is like, oh, well, China's gonna take you over because you don't have a good military, so China's gonna take you over. It's like, okay, then why has China not taken over Puerto Rico? Why has China not taken over the U.S. Virgin Islands? We don't have a military presence there. Like, why haven't they taken over Portugal? Yeah, it's attached to Spain, but that's a different country. Why haven't it's small? Like, and it makes no sense to me because it's like, oh, yeah, maybe China doesn't have the resources to do that type of thing. Maybe they only have the resources to provide economically and industrially. That's what they're for. It's like they're like whenever you think about military defense, that's a very like Western American thing. Like whenever it comes to heavily militarized countries, that's an American thing. Like other countries don't have that. So like we're always worried about invasion. We're always on red alert, and that's like kind of trickled down to just like regular people like you and me. And it's like, oh, first thing I think is like, oh no, part of the country breaks off, and they're not protected by the National Guard or some shit like that. They'll just get sucked into China. Well, they're still part of the United States. That's what the whole point of the United States was supposed to be, was like literally like a neighborhood. It's like, hey, if a bunch of fucking Saudi Arabians start attacking one half of my neighborhood, I'm not just going to sit at my house and just keep sitting there watching Sports Center being like, yep, them Dallas Cowboys. No, I'm going to be, if I have the arms and the weapons and the resources to do so, I'm going to go.
We need the Bucks to win the Super Bowl again.
Right. And see, that's the deal is like most people are like, I'm not involved, but I'm going to be very vocal about something. And it's like, and that's what cracks me up whenever people are like, oh, you're a libertarian. Oh, you think anarchy's cool as a philosophy? Oh, I bet you would just sit there and watch your neighbor's house burn down and not do anything because the fire department. No, it's like, yeah, I would obviously help out. It's like, what the fuck are you getting into? Like, people just start getting into this weird fantasy. They're like, oh, well, if Disney made this movie and you didn't agree, would you drive to Orlando, Florida and make your own movie that was and you would buy Disney and you would kiss me. You would kiss me a lot on the nose. It's like, whoa, what are you getting into? I love that shit. Where it's like, yeah, Trump wants to, I hate Trump's a racist. He wants to fuck his daughter just like he wants to kiss me on the ears and lick my feet. And it's like, whoa, holy shit. This isn't even a political thing anymore. You're just like fucked up in the head. You know, I love that shit. I love that shit so much. I love that. Like, yeah, but yeah, for real. Honestly, I feel like everywhere should be like Florida right now. Florida's doing great. And it is weird though, because Florida, you guys always feel on the seat of your pants like, oh fuck, if we lose DeSantis, we're fucked. Because like, have you seen the other people that are always like mega funded by Soros and shit like that to try to run against DeSantis, or even prior to him being elected in 2018, I forgot the other guy's name was, is the black dude, but he's like super Soros funded. And if he would have been governor like in 2018, Florida would be, you probably wouldn't even be living there right now. You'd be like, oh, fuck that. They banned guns. I'm not going to move there anymore. You know, like it seriously would have been at that point, because Florida's always been known as a swing state. So it's always up for grabs.
Yeah.
But DeSantis is doing a good job of at least establishing like, hey, you can defend yourself here. Like all Florida needs to get better on is marijuana, I feel like. And they also need to get rid of all of their national lands, because I think like 40% of Florida is owned by the U.S. Department of Defense or some shit. They have more military bases per square mile than like any place on earth, I think. But if they could kick like the federal government out of Florida and then just be cool with like weed, and
a lot of people said
it'd be fun.
A seceding, then the U.S. military would still be stationed inside of the seceded state, because they wouldn't want to just open up their border to fucking anarchy, you know?
Well, doesn't that technically go against the Fourth Amendment, though? Is like you're not required to house troops or whatever?
Yeah, but it wasn't there, the fucking tenant stay policy or something.
Yeah, on Timcast. That's what you're talking about. Yeah, he mentioned that on Timcast, where it's like somebody who was an active duty troop was required to stay in it because of the whatever it was, like the rent
tenant stay act or something like that.
Well, yeah, you can't evict anybody. It was an eviction moratorium, and somebody was an active duty, and it's like, you're forcing me to house an active duty U.S. troop. That's against my Fourth Amendment rights, and he won. It is badass. And it's like, you know, I feel bad, because it's like, oh, that was just, you know, probably just some 18-year-old idiot who decided to join the military. But like at the end of the day, it's like you just kick somebody out of their house, but it's like, oh, you're getting paid by the federal government? Like, why aren't they paying for your housing then? It's like, what the I do that. I love stories like that. But that's what's sad, is like you only hear one of those like feel good, like, hey, we finally, you know, gave them their own medicine type of deal. But that only happens very rarely. That should be an everyday thing. So
checks and balances, dude.
That fucking cracks me up, though. It's like, you're forcing me to literally house a troop. That shit.
You don't have the foresight for that or anything. Like,
yeah,
like, yeah, we'll just approve everybody doesn't have to pay rent anymore. What kind of shit is that, man? Yeah,
seriously, that is like, it's so fucking strange. Because like, if you wanted to destroy a company or a country or a country,
landlords, hey, fuck you. You have a house and you're renting it out. Fuck you.
Well, that's the deal. It's like, if you wanted to destroy a company, you would just stop paying your vendors, and that's exactly what local governments were doing during COVID.
Companies did that to fucking buy up houses. Like, I was looking at this fucking shit, and
yeah, Main Street bought up a bunch of shit.
Since 2021, Vanguard has bought 50% of the houses in Dallas since 2021.
Yeah, everything that's multifamily. Everything that's multifamily has been at least offered by, well, there's a bunch of, Vanguard, which is also, well, it's not black, it's also Blackstone, which I thought they just made griddles, but apparently they're evil, so I got to throw away my Blackstone. That's what's hilarious. Imagine a bunch of conservatives shooting their Blackstone because they think it's the real estate people. You know what I mean? It's like he's like, oh shit, Dell's owned by a liberal. I'm gonna shoot it. You know, it's like they just shoot their fucking source of food, or like they burn their Nikes. That was all. That dude, that cracked me up.
Yeah, I don't even know what else. Fucking
Oh
burn them.
yeah. Well, yeah, I'm just gonna burn my Nikes because Colin Kaepernick kneeled. It's like, what the fuck? You just spent $200 on shoes and you're just gonna. You're an idiot. It's like he didn't make those shoes. Some like Chinese kid did. But
these were the Colin Kaepernick 11s or whatever.
Oh, they're just knee pads. I saw that. Yeah, it was like a meme. It was like the new Colin Kaepernick shoes, and they're just knee pads. But see, that's the other deal too. Is like people are like, I want freedom. I don't want to have to be forced to do stuff by the government. It's like, then why are you so like happy to pledge allegiance to their flag all the time? Like, I mean, honestly, like, don't make a scene about it. Like, don't be like, oh, look at me. I'm
a good argument for nationalism. Nationalism is
nationalism is good whenever you have a nation you can believe in. But like, I don't believe in this nation anymore.
I think that it's gonna get anarchy first, and then nationalism.
I like the idea of monarchy.
Everybody else is gonna get killed that doesn't agree with the values, and then everybody gets along after that, right?
I like. Honestly,
if you put 100 conservatives against 100 liberals, and it was a fucking death match, who do you think would win?
I'd rather live under a religious monarchy because I mean, we're already in a very religious society. It's just a secular religious society. But like, whenever you're under a monarchy, there's only one king to kill. There's not 70,000 government king agents spread across every nook and cranny in your entire country. There's only one.
We have such a big government.
And that means there's like that person has to act to kind of help the people, at least the people that are in power.
We need to gut it half the size of the government. Just 50% of employees fired tomorrow. I think we'd be better off.
Well, that's the deal. Like that's what always cracked me up, dude. It's like how
dumb top down, and each employee flips a coin. If it's heads, they stay. If it's tails, they leave.
Well, remember whenever like the post office, everybody's like, save the post office. All this shit. It's like the post office isn't a government agency. And it's like, okay, then why does the government say you're not allowed to put anything, nothing, not even like a penny in your mailbox unless it has a government stamp on it and it's approved by the Postmaster General and it can only be picked up by one company, which is the USPS. It's like, oh, no, that's not related to the government. It's like saying the only grocery store allowed in the entire United States is a fucking Piggly Wiggly. Yep, that's it. That's all. Sorry, that's freedom. No, it's not government controlled. There's only one. And that's all it's allowed to be by law. It's not government controlled.
You gotta deal with their half-price pork chops or whatever for the rest of you. Why?
Well, that's what like blows my mind is like, damn, capitalism is badass. Like capitalism has allowed me, an idiot who mowed grass, to be able to get a decent job. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not about conforming. It's actually about like just putting yourself forward. As long as you're not like a shut-in, you can do pretty good stuff. Like as long as you just have good work ethic and you're like not happy working for other people, you'll actually do really well in life. Because if you don't want to work for other people, you're motivated to be like, okay, fuck it. I just want to make a ton of money and then end up working for myself. Yeah. Like, and that could be anything. You could be selling t-shirts or you could be selling fucking Maseratis. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, you got to sell yourself first. Well, not your actual body, but you got to like sell people on the brand.
Your soul. You got to sell your soul.
How to establish your personal brand. That's a pretty good seminar. Right?
No, wait.
Well, it is though, because it's like, hey, what sets this dude apart from that guy that can't talk right?
Oh yeah, there was some guy in the Tampa office, and he'd always be trying to go for like out of market stuff, and I'd be like, dude, you gotta go for like these people down the street because like, who would you rather do business with? Like some fucking dude that lives in a different time zone or some dude that you can like shake their hand, like you can just like go say, hey, what's up to?
Right. Yeah, and see, that's what I like. Unfortunately,
Yeah,
Tulsa's kind of a
cool.
shitty market, but Tampa, at least you got a bunch more people, and they're all cool. Like around here, that's the deal. Is like, you know how many happy hours I've tried to set up?
Very, very.
Nobody wants to drink. Nobody, dude. Nobody I hired, like, they all smoke weed and they don't like drink. I'm like, you want to go to a happy hour? And they're like, oh well, I gotta go have dinner with my wife. It's like, dude, you have a medical card. Come to the bar with me. You know what I mean? Like shit like that. It's like just for 30 minutes, man. We can even we'll go to fucking like I don't know Applebee's or Carrabba's and go grab a drink there.
Applebee's is lit, dude. Applebee's goes so hard. They got half price drinks there, dude.
Honestly, Chili's is not. I don't know. Chili's.
Your fucking queso dip, bro. Ooh.
Oh, and the skillet, the cheese skillet thing.
Queso dip, that shit goes so hard.
Well, On the Border was always dope too.
Yeah, I like On the Border still.
Just
There's not an On the Border in Tampa, unfortunately. The closest one is in Orlando, like fucking 50 minutes away.
It's weird. What the
I
fuck?
haven't been to it.
Damn. Well, see, that'd be sick though. It's just like, hey, I just want a ton of just like kind of mediocre food, just kind of like expensive cocktails for what they are. But damn, is it good? You know, like it's just like.
Yeah, I just ate. You're making me hungry for some queso, dude.
Yeah, they got good shit, man. Well, and see, that's the thing. Like, Chili's really isn't a restaurant. I feel like they're just Chili's is not a restaurant. They're a place that just like reheats stuff. But damn, like an Outback Steakhouse, that's like an Australian Chili's. You got Buffalo Wild Wings, which is like a Pennsylvania Chili's.
All that goes in, dude. Yeah.
That's the deal, man. If I just could get some good wings, like consistently, I'd just be happy. Every time
I went to Buffalo Wild Wings, and the wings there were like a couple of them were kind of fucking chewy or something, and they weren't super hot.
I hate that. I like when it so it's crispy on the outside, but the inside is almost like it's steamed, and then you can like suck it off the. You know what I mean? It's like and it's just like it's almost like eating a like crawfish or something. You know, it's like you just suck it off the bone really quick.
I think that God, Wingstop has pretty good if you want wings. If you get them extra crispy.
I think that's the deal. Because, well, yeah, if you get bone in, you got to get extra crispy, I think. Mm-hmm. Because, like, sometimes, like, their meat is really good. Like, they always have meatier wings than other places. And I think that's the deal. Like, you just got to have them cooked longer. Yeah. Because I've got them, too. Like, they're super juicy on the inside. But then you take a bite, and then all you get is skin. Like, you don't get any – like, all the skin just peels off. And you're like, well, shit. I wanted, like – I thought these were fried, not, like, steamed or shit.
Steamed wings.
Boiled
chicken. It's fucking boiled meat. What is this? The goddamn Stone Age?
It drives me insane, dude. It's like just – shit, even when I worked at like Freddy's, I was like, oh, I'm not going to use that piece of lettuce. That looks low quality. I'm not going to feed somebody that. But it's like people at restaurants just like they're just like, this chicken wing is just a bone. There's not even, it's just a bone. I'm just going to throw that in there. Yep, that's one piece.
Yeah, I've gotten one of those before. I've gotten a little wing.
Well, and it's insane because it's like, dude, I got a 12-piece, and for some reason there's like 9 pieces of chicken in here. What the fuck happened to the others? Like they can't count or something.
Well, the boss man said something about cost.
Well, and then on the other side of that too, sometimes I'll go to Popeyes and I'll just get like 5-piece tender combo, and then they give me like
I had to take out like had a worm in it.
Well, they'll give me like 16 pieces of chicken. And they'll give me like so many tenders. It's like, what the fuck? You just ruined all the fries because all the chicken like steamed up the fries and now they're all floppy. Like they put too much food in the box, so it ruins everything that's in the box.
Oh God!
And it's like, oh, they thought they were hooking me up, but they just ruined my meal. Yeah, dude, fast food workers are insane. I heard a news story today how somebody in Skytook was selling meth out of the Carl's Jr. They were, or somebody got a burger and it just had like 4 grams of meth in the back. That's a lot of fucking meth. Like 4 grams. Jesus Christ. And,
Oh my God.
but of course, I love the news stories about that because they're like, a person dining in Skytook got an unpleasant surprise. And it's like, well, fuck, if it was the right person, they just would have got an extra $200.
Sandy Brown, a
Yeah.
Florida resident, found 4 grams
Yeah.
of meth in her leg.
Somebody that lives in your hometown with no teeth and wearing a ripped T-shirt is going to appear on the news to represent your city.
I just found it in my bag.
They put dogs in it. It's like this this average Oklahoman person found it, and it's like, they're just robbery.
Insane person.
They have a Harley Davidson tattoo on their boob, something like that. Dude, that shit. Ugh. That's what always sucks. Because every time there's like a tornado here, and like NBC News shows, like national news shows up, they always interview the people that look like shit, and it's like the wealthiest part of Oklahoma City got hit with a tornado, and they find the only person there that lives in a trailer, like the only person, you know. They're like, well, my RV done flipped over. I was living with my sister-in-law, and she flipped over too because she on that TLC show 9,000 Pound Sisters. And
Dude, there's a 1,200-pound guy. There's a 1,200-pound guy. I think we were talking about the heaviest person, right?
Well, I don't know. I've seen My 600-Pound Life, but it's also kind of it's a show called My 600-Pound Life, but some of them weigh like 400, some of them weigh like 700. So I don't know where the 600 came. I think that was like the first person they found was 600. So they're like, oh, there's got to be a million of these, but they all just like kept dying. So they had to find like. That's the funniest thing about those shows is because they'll only show you like the stories of like 3 different people, but originally they probably filmed like 12, but like 9 of them like died during filming. So like they're like, shit, this season was supposed to have 40 episodes, but it really only has 8 now. That's exactly what happens.
I just can't stop eating Cheetos or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. And now I have to have a wall taken out so I can go outside. They had to remove the front of my home so I can go outdoors.
1,200 pounds. There's a guy in Maryland. 1,200 pounds. They had to fucking cut the roof off this place and fucking drag him up through the roof with a crane.
Yeah.
And they had to put him in a shipping container laying down, and then they had to have a tow truck drive him to the new place.
I saw something like that too, where they had to put a guy, they had to like wheel him out of the house, but in the bed he was in, it was like a special bed because basically like his spine couldn't support his body anymore. So whenever they transported him, they had to put him in a tank of water like a whale. They had to like keep him in water while they moved him so he could just float instead of like be laid down and like get all the bumps and shit and like break his back or his spinal cord or something. So they're like, yeah, we had to transport him in a tank of water like a fucking whale. Like, dude, could you imagine? And those people are still like proud of themselves. They're still like, oh, I don't have a problem. And it's like, dude, you're getting transported in a 20,000-gallon water tank because your bones don't work anymore. Like, because you ate too many fucking bugles. Like,
How do you eat that much, dude?
I don't know, because fat people always have small mouths. Have you noticed that? They always have like a little tiny. Or I was like, yeah, I'll weigh a ton. It's like, how do you couldn't even fit a corn dog in that shit. What the fuck are they? Are they just like sipping milkshakes all day, every day, every day?
I think it's probably.
What the fuck? That's a hilarious. She just started sneezing at the front door.
Yeah, it started smelling really hard. She was like, she just started smelling the door really hard.
It's probably just that lady selling dope.
Oh, hush. Come here.
Oh, are you still you mostly work from home, right? Like you usually work from home.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that she will only bark like while you're on an important call or something?
Yeah.
Isn't that hilarious?
Let her outside for those.
That's what Bruce does. Like I'll be like sitting here like just doing emails all morning, and he's just asleep. And then all of a sudden, as soon as I answer my phone, like within about 30 seconds, he just starts barking at the wall like somebody's trying to break in the wall. It makes no fucking like. I don't know if he hears the person on my phone and thinks they're like in the house or something.
Maybe.
But every single time, and it's always at a situation where I'm like talking to somebody and I'm like trying to act like I'm, in an office and professional and shit. And then the dog just starts barking, or like the cat starts like clawing up the fucking like little scratch pole thing. It's
my manager's sitting down the hallway right now.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's down there and he's like, whoa, woof, woof, woof. Like, oh yeah, that's his service dog. He's blind. We're actually very inclusive here. So the fact that you're Indian won't hurt your job at all. Like, won't hurt your prospects. That we actually like different people here. See, my manager is a blind dog. DEI. Our diversity department is completely ran by a Pomeranian that's missing a leg, and she's also shown a propensity to female asses. So she's a lesbian Pomeranian with disabled. So we know we run a tight ship around here.
Yeah, our data analytics and insights gal is a horse.
Yeah. Yeah, every time I'm like, hey, these numbers don't make sense. And she's like, nay. Every time I email her, I just get a picture of like a bunch of grass. Hey, this
the
person
Futurama episode where it's like they pull the cord and it's like, and it's
exactly.
like the whole thing's and it points to the horse and it goes, the horse says doctorate denied.
Exactly. It's like,
hey, a lady in there loses her doctorates or whatever.
Yeah, I'm just trying to change my 401k withholdings, and you just get like an audio clip emailed back to you. It's just like like whenever people call your when people call like your Cisco number and you just get like an email of a voicemail. Like that's what it is, just a bunch of horse noises. Like, hey, this is Sugarfoot from HR. And that, sorry, I can't help you, and then just hangs up. Like, I'm a horse. I don't know why they hired me.
Yeah, I just answer the phone all day.
That's literally the resources that I have. It's like I would be better off calling the fucking phone number that you call to get the time and temperature for blind people. It's like 7. You know what I'm talking about? You call time and temperature. I used to do that when I was a kid just because I wanted to make phone calls, but I didn't have any calls or people to call, so I just like call time and temperature, and it just tell us the time is 5:01 p.m. It is 72 degrees. Thank you, and it'll just hang up.
I've never done that before, dude.
You never heard of time and temperature? Mm-hmm. Every city has its own, or like state. Every zip code or area code has its own time and temp. It's like. It's meant, or it's also called like an accessibility information line. It's meant for like the hearing and vision impaired to, figure out what the fuck's going on outdoors. Like, hey, is it raining? I can't tell. But the one here used to be like,
no,
it was like 744-1010 or something like that. I'm going to look that up and see if it still exists. That was probably 20 years ago when I last called that.
AARP has this number, 202.
Well, you're just going to get it from New York, probably. Oh, yeah. That's the call to know what time it is. 202-762-1401.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
U.S. Naval Observatory Master Clock at the tone, Eastern Daylight Time, 22 hours, 42 minutes, 15 seconds.
Damn, dude, that was spot on. I was watching my clock too.
U.S. Naval Observatory Master Clock at the tone, Eastern Daylight Time, 22 hours, 42 minutes, 30 seconds.
Damn, dude. Time
Apparently, the one in Tampa is defunct. The line has gone dead by the mid-2010s.
That's how this was. The one here went defunct in 2016, but there's also one, Keep, a recruiting firm. Key personnel, time, and temperature. I'm going to look that up. Yeah, that's what it was. Holy shit. Oh my God. It was 477-1000. It got retired. What
I'm
the
gonna
fuck?
try to hold it and see if it's a number.
The time and temperature is coming up after this.
I found the
Are
Tampa
you
one.
prepared for emergencies in your home? A simple alert device from Life Alert means you can live alone without ever being alone.
It's an ad.
You've seen the TV commercial, I've fallen and I can't get up?
Terrible.
Life Alert. And they're standing by now with information. To hear the time and temperature, just stay on the line.
Hear the time and
For
temperature.
details on the Life Alert emergency
All
alert
right. I
system,
want to hear the time and
press
temperature.
1
in
now.
Tampa.
Let me go grab my phone. I'll be right back.
Today is Wednesday, June 22nd. The current time, 10:43 p.m. And the temperature, 82 degrees.
Yeah. We're trying to call time and temperature. Okay. Let's see if I can call this one. Oh, shit.
We are sorry that Key no longer is providing a time and temperature service. However, you may call this number to get the time and temperature. The number is 9187. I do not understand.
Oh, son of a bitch. I was trying to type.
Try it again. You need a notepad. You need a notepad.
Okay, it's 918-366-8463.
Life Alert.
Thank you for calling Bixby Weather Now, a service of BTC Broadband, your phone and internet provider. 918-366-8000.
BTC Broadband utilizes a fiber optic network, meaning your phone and internet is safer, more
What
reliable,
the fuck is the
and can
time?
operate at much greater speeds to accommodate your ongoing online usage. Call us at 918-366-8000 or visit BTC Broadband.
It's an ad.
One of our 50-plus fiber-to-the-home neighborhoods. If you do, we can offer you speeds up to 1 gigabit.
The current time, 9:45 p.m. And the temperature, 82 degrees.
Damn, dude, it's 82 here also.
That's crazy. I was gonna say it's the same tip.
Damn, dude, I could just go outside and be like, yo, I'm in Florida. Hell yeah. Well, it's really humid here too, so it's probably kind of the same. I feel like
I saved that number in my phone.
time and temperature. Hell yeah. Yeah. Well, it's nice to have different references because if like the app
Hey,
on your phone,
Siri.
because I always use like My Radar or whatever it is. Yeah, My Radar. That's like my favorite app for weather. But if you're like, nah, it's not 96, and you call like the number and it says it is 94, and you're like, ha ha, I gotcha, bitch. Oh damn, it's about to holy shit. That's weird. There's a storm that's moving like directly east to west, but like it's moving, but like as it moves, it just keeps reforming over Topeka, Kansas. I left my windows down. That's the only reason I'm checking the weather. But yeah, this says 84 degrees. The thing I called in Bixby says 82. So we'll see. Oh, dude, I'm so fucking sick of having to take care of these plants.
What? Dude, no, I love taking care of my plants. That's what I look forward to every day. Taking care of my squirrels, taking care of my dogs, taking care of my plants. I like them. I like to see them grow and stuff.
So all my shit is growing really weird because I think I have too fertile of soil, so it's like too much fertilizer. So everything's really like, and it's not too much water because I only water stuff whenever it looks like it's about to wilt, and then I water it. Like, and then I'll water it a lot, like, you know, like flood it like once a week. But I've got these rabbits attacking my shit. Everything else is super leggy because it's like too much fertilizer, I think, too much nitrogen in the soil. And like my potatoes are doing okay, but my potato plants are the size of tomato plants, and potatoes are only like the leaves are only supposed to get about a foot tall, and that's it. Mine are like 4 feet tall.
Dude, I was listening to this lady who lives up in the Pacific Northwest, and she was talking about how none of her trees are producing this year, and none of like all of her cucumbers died out. And then as soon as I watched that, my cucumbers started dying out. I haven't gotten a single good cucumber yet. They just started dying out, and then people in the comments were all talking about fucking chemtrails and shit, and how they're spraying shit to fucking fuck with cucumber plants. It's getting in deep, but I think it's a real thing.
No, chemtrails are real. They're just not every single thing you see in the sky. Like, it is real because like the sodium iodine or whatever it is that changes the weather, that's real. South, like desert regions have been doing that for years. They always say, yeah, they do it, but only in Saudi Arabia. It's like, no, they do it in California. They do it in Texas. They do it in every single, you know, kind of arid region like that. Like they always do it. Like if it's a drought, they start dumping shit in the air to see if they can form clouds. Like that's just like what they do. It's like, what is it?
And you know how we were talking about, hey, that one lake, Lake Mead or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
And how it's basically getting real low, right? Is that what your point was? Is that how it's getting low?
Well, no, that's actually because of excess water usage, but it's also strange because
it's getting really low. So they're putting all this stuff in the sky to try, because the fucking western side of the United States, if you take the United States and draw a line, it's in historic droughts right now. The entire
it has been for 30 years.
It's in extreme drought mode. Like it hasn't rained in like a fucking year in some of these areas.
Well, it's that side of the Sierra Nevada, like that split. It's basically all the way up to Lake Tahoe, and then it stops. Like as far as whatever that is, like the 30.
Well, the Pacific Northwest doesn't get it because it constantly rains there, but.
Well, that's what's insane too, is because I just read something the other day is that was like the Southwest was experiencing like historical rains. Like they're getting a ton of rain, but everything, like all the lake levels are going down. So I think what it is just like the water table is shifting. So like all these natural reservoirs, like they were just damming up natural river basins. Like those aren't going to work anymore because like if the water table shifts on that part.
The biggest aquifer in the world is located basically in Kansas and Oklahoma.
Oh yeah, dude. I mean, you can drill a well anywhere in the Midwest and be fine. But once you get closer to the ocean, it's really tough. Like you got to drill like 2,000-3,000 feet sometimes just to get a good well, especially on coastal areas.
Florida.
Well, you have to. Florida is weird, and that's the only reason that it's still a peninsula is because the bedrock in Florida is closer to the surface, and bedrock is where the aquifers are. It's like in between those layers of limestone. Supposed to be a huge ass cavity. All the groundwater filters into it through the limestone, filters it naturally. You got amazing water. But that's also how you end up with so many. Don't you guys have a shitload of magnesium and phosphorus mines? Like magnesium and phosphorus, that's why. It's because it comes from that limestone aquifers. But like the East Coast is really rocky. The West Coast is pretty rocky up in the Northwest, and it cuts off at Northern California, and then like towards from Northern California to the Baja of Mexico, that's all just like sand essentially. So like all that water just drains into the soil, and it goes way too deep to even drill for. Like it goes deep enough to where it just like cycles back into the ocean, the natural water table, which is like 6,000 feet, and at that point you can't even get a decent like well sleeve in the ground. You build a house out there and you try to get water, even though you're like 500 feet above sea level, to get water somehow you got to drill down.
Why don't we all move to the desert? Why would you fucking live in a desert? It's a desert.
Well, that's the deal. It's like, oh, the people in Sudan don't have any food. And it's like, yeah, move to where you can grow fucking food. But it's like, obviously they have like, different governments that like restrict them from moving freely and all that shit. But it's like, yeah, move. That's like the classic like Sam Kinison joke. It's like, why don't you move to where the fucking food is? You live in a desert. He's like, why? No fucking shit. You're hungry. You live in a fucking desert. Like all that shit. Yeah. But I mean, it does make sense. Like, don't live there. Live places that are sustainable. Like, fuck. Yeah. You can't have a garden in your backyard, dude. I've been trying to get this lady a job for a while. She lives like out in like West Texas, right on the Mexico border. And she's like, me and her text back, like I haven't been able to find her a job because it's in the middle of nowhere. But me and her text back and forth all the time, just talking about her garden and shit. She's like a nice, like probably 60-year-old lady. But like, she's always like, yeah, my tomatoes aren't doing good, but my squash is doing amazing. And I'm like, damn, it's kind of the opposite here. And like, we just like compare stuff. And
my tomatoes aren't doing good, but my squash is doing good. Besides the bugs I got, but
I think it's sandy soil, honestly, because tomatoes do not like sandy soil. They like really organic material in the soil, like a ton of like dead leaves.
So I think that
it'll help. It might take a couple years, but eventually you'll get it dialed in. Yeah. Have you got any soil? Well, I guess you don't technically have soil, but once you get that established, like in your garden beds, probably I would say wait at least another like year, 18 months. But once all that stuff gets washed in, get a soil test and see at least what you're dealing with. I'm pretty sure. So what's the big college? Is it University of Tampa that's closer to you?
Yeah, there's the closest college to me is probably University of South Florida, USF, but University of Tampa is pretty close too.
Well, any college that's close to you that has like a agricultural program, they'll do like free soil testing, or if they don't, it's like
yeah, they do free soil testing. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you need to do that because like that's something I want to do. Obviously, like I don't have much invested into my house because it's not mine. But that's something. It's like you just want to know what you're dealing with. So like it's like, oh, I don't need to put any nitrogen down. Like I'm already like too high on nitrogen. I should actually probably put some lime down. Like that's where you want to be. Is like figure out how to like at least like the pH, because like with sand, it's really tricky because you have sandy soil. You don't even technically have loam because like you don't really have too many root crops growing like in that type of soil that you have. It's mostly like palms, which are just grass, and those roots. Even a 40-foot tall palm tree its taproot only goes down about 3 feet. Like it's not solid in there. So like there's not a bunch of organic material in the soil unless it's like dead grass or animals, which are really not a good source of potassium, and that's what balances out.
That's what you have to do. You have to put a bunch of mulch in and just keep tilling it in, basically.
Yeah. Well, that's the deal too. Yeah, get as much get as much mulch as you can, but also
I got a whole truckload, and it's all
right. But could you tell like what type of wood was in it? Like was it like hardwood or was it mostly like palm tree?
And palm tree stuff. It was everything. It was the power line company.
What you'll really want is like the hardwood type stuff, which will be hard, but like that.
No, it was good mulch because it had a bunch of like leaves and shit in it, and that's all now broken down into like good black soil.
Well, I remember you sent a picture when you originally like finally finished up the pile, and you got like everything spread out in your backyard, and it was tall as fuck.
Yeah.
But it doesn't look like you spread it out. Well, you might have like leveled it, but you didn't like spread it out further. And it's already going down like 1.5 feet. Like
Yeah,
it's
I filled up like different beds, but yeah, it definitely decomposed a lot. Like,
do you ever flip it over?
not
Yeah.
yet. No,
Yeah.
I'm just gonna take that big pile, and then once my watermelons get done, I'll basically push that mulch everywhere in that entire area. And then next year, I'm gonna have big rows that you can like walk in between. That's the goal.
Yeah, next year I'm doing.
Right now, it's so tight because I didn't have all that space before, so all my shit's growing real close together, and I'd rather have it spaced farther apart because I think it'd do better.
Well, that's what Chance did. Yeah, he just got a pallet of cinder blocks for like $100, I think, and he just built like 3 raised beds that were only like 2 blocks tall, but it keeps like all the animals out. And he got like 1 dump truck load of good like topsoil or garden mix, and all of his stuff is like blown up. He's already harvested the onions somehow. I planted after him, and he's already harvested before me, like with the onions. Because like onions take forever.
Yeah, they do.
And I have no idea. Like he's already got like good baseball size onions, but he also did slips instead of the like seed onions.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes those do better. But I think it just like with vegetables, it all comes down to drainage. Like you really don't need nutrients that much. You just need to make sure it's like you water them, and then 3 days later it's dry.
That's true.
Yeah, you just gotta like dry stuff out because I think it all goes in like watering cycles or something like that. But
yeah, there's all these weird methods that you can do to like build like these fucking berms and stuff with the fucking material to try to harvest water in certain ways, and it's really effective. I don't know, man.
Yeah, that's
I got a deuce out, dude. It's 11 here almost, and like
yeah, I'm about to go finish up the. Hold on, I gotta put this sticker on my laptop really quick. I accidentally told somebody. Oh, dude, we didn't even get into this, but there's somebody at my office today trying to convince everybody about flat Earth, and like all of the evidence that he had for flat Earth was like the most run-of-the-mill shit ever. It's like, how do you think people fly from South America to Australia? And I was like, every day. It's like, well, do the pilots know about the curve? And it's like, if you used a GPS before in the air, have you driven a boat across a lake before? Have you like? It was just like I just like sat that one out because I was like, dude,
dang,
what you're saying makes any sense. Like you're trying to tell people the Earth is flat, and I was just like, okay, sure, but how does that affect you? How does that? There's like a lot of very pressing things to be concerned about. Like the Earth being flat is not one of them at this point. It's like, here's something we can control. How about all the tyrants trying to take your fucking freedom away from you? Why don't you focus on that instead of the goddamn flat Earth? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, well, Neil deGrasse Tyson said this. I'm like, Neil deGrasse? Oh my God, you might as well just listen to Bill Nye. Like Neil deGrasse Tyson, like he's always like, Happy Easter. Actually, Easter was technically in September because I'm a black scientist or something, you know, whatever. It's like,
I have a mustache.
I have a very perfect mustache, and I talk like I'm on the radio, so you must believe me. Thank you very much. Like that it's so weird. So weird. But it was the funniest shit ever. But we'll save that for next week along with oh damn, I did have something else that I completely forgot.
Do more research on the big berms that you can build. Like it's ways to basically, it's ways that people in like really mountainous regions control water for their crops.
Oh, terracing? Like doing terraces? or like steps.
You can do it in lowlands too, in a certain way, and you can build like these berms out of mulch and like.
Have you ever noticed, like, if you get on Google Maps and then you see like a field where a bunch of cows have been for a long time, how it like has those different like steps to it? Have you ever noticed that?
Mm-hmm. I know what you're talking about.
Is that what you think that is, or do you think that's like a natural? I've never figured out what that is. I think it's like people do that, like they kind of put berms certain places so the water doesn't like wash it out. It just like kind of flows because like cows eat all the grass, so you need something to keep like the dirt together, I guess. But I didn't know if that was just from like
instant farming technique. Yeah, it's like people will do it with like rocks and very rocky areas, and like in fucking like the mountains of like Japan and shit, they'll like fucking grow like fucking horseradish or wasabi roots and ginseng roots out of these like.
or Machu Picchu. Machu Picchu's like that, isn't it? In South America, Machu Picchu, it's like all like it's on a mountain, but it's like a point like this, but they put a bunch of like stair steps on the side to where you can like it's like flat land you can grow like rice in and shit.
Yeah,
and
and
the water it rains up top and it fills up.
And then it drip irrigates itself. It is the whole idea behind it. It's like drip irrigation.
Damn.
And it's because
if you got like a free loaded dirt, you can just have a pyramid in your backyard.
yeah, that's a good idea actually.
Damn, that is a good idea because the shit at the top would like have like the most sun. Everything would have equal sun, and then whatever's at the very top, like at the very top, you put something that needs like the most like root depth, I guess. But then like everything would have like great drainage because it's like all the water hits it at the top and just trickles down, and then but it also doesn't go straight down; it goes like out. And that's crazy. Strawberries, like that's damn. I might try that next year. Do like a strawberry pyramid,
spiral staircase, like just build a big mound of dirt and then just make a spiral staircase up it.
That's not a bad idea because that's how I grew my watermelons this year. I did the mound method. Have you heard of that?
No.
Like basically, you just get like a 3 foot wide. Yeah, you just like get a 3 foot wide pile of dirt that's like a foot taller than the rest of the soil, and then you just plant like in a circle around the perimeter, like spaced out like 4 inches, a bunch of watermelon seeds, and then in the middle you do like 5 of them, like in a star, or like 5 points basically with one in the middle. Well, I guess 6 technically. But yeah, all mine are growing like that, and they start growing in a spiral because like you know how watermelons, they won't grow fruit until they're at least like the vine is at least like 3 feet long.
Yeah.
So all of them, you just start twisting around that circle, and then eventually what you're supposed to do is like on the slopes of the side of the circle where it's like a ditch, that's where all your watermelons will start growing, like around the outside. So all the vines are growing from the middle, all the watermelons are right there, and all the vines like spread out from there. And then you can like trim them, manage them, like you can trellis it up if you want to. But that's the deal that sucks is like when you have a small yard, like watermelons are hard to grow because they spread out so much. Like you need like
they take over your whole bed basically. Like they basically my watermelons have basically squashed all my pepper. Like I had a row of jalapenos and it basically just fucking took them over. Like all their little curly cues are wrapped around the jalapenos and stuff. I'm like, fuck.
Well, I have so I planted last year. I planted 2 strawberry plants, and then this spring I planted 2 more. I have a 4x8 entire box now, just filled up with strawberry plant. Like that stuff like spreads out like insane, and that's what pisses me off is like I have no strawberries. I have hundreds.
Their first year they don't make strawberries.
Well, the ones I bought last year was the first year I planted them. They made a ton of strawberries. And then this year I planted the other ones, and the ones from last year also produced a ton of strawberries back when it was like in the 60s, 70s. And now that it's hot, like the plant is getting huge, but there's just no more fruit. And like they'll sprout little flowers. It could also be the rabbits and stuff, but like they'll sprout little flowers that turn into the strawberries. But then as soon as they get about as big as like, as soon as they start turning red, they just disappear.
Yeah, so, they're real small.
Yeah, they're really small, and they like turn white, but they never like will turn red, or if they do turn red, they just disappear because I think something eats them, like birds or some shit. But that's the deal too. Is like I'm not gonna buy that much chicken wire. Like I fucking hate chicken wire. That shit. Last time I put that fencing up, it just like my entire hands were like bleeding. Like it was terrible. And I was wearing gloves too. It was terrible. But yeah, we'll save that for next week, I suppose. I got to go finish whatever's going on in my garage. I think I started out in there and then disappeared. So, but yeah,
I'm probably gonna take a rip and go to bed or something, dude.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I got to go.
My hair is
I got to stop doing this. I keep telling people, like, whenever I go to the office, I'm like, yeah, I'll be up here tomorrow. And then I wake up the next morning, I'm like, God, there's no way I can go into the office today. But it's like, damn it, I told those people I'd be there. So it's like, I got to go. So, yeah, I got to go to the office tomorrow. And
dude, like 15 people have COVID in the Tampa office. 2 more tested positive today, so we're up to like 17.
I haven't heard of a single person around here at least getting COVID since February.
Haley texted me. She said her and Caroline are sick right now. They don't know what they got.
Well, it's definitely not COVID. They might test positive for it, but it's not COVID.
No.
There's no way. That's what cracks me up is like, oh, it's a new disease and we already know it's going to be here forever. It's like,
it's the doomsday virus, dude.
Yeah, weird shit. But
this is it.
Yeah, man.
I'm telling you, it's putting people out, dude.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. I saw somebody on Twitter earlier today that said the only reason, is like, I'm a COVID survivor, and I'm like, isn't everybody else that's alive right now? Yeah. Like everybody survived it. What are you talking about?
COVID survivor, dude.
I'm a COVID survivor. Or it's like,
what kind of
COVID?
What kind of bullshit is that, dude? What? I don't get that. That's fishing for compliments or whatever.
Hey, as long as you're not like 400 pounds, you should be good. So. But yeah, man, I'm gonna hang up, go finish up some shit, and then go to bed. Probably have a nice piss. So
yeah, I need a nice piss.
Take it easy. I will see you next week, and I'll probably be sending you a bunch of political shit to piss Matt off here at about 10 hours, 10, 11 hours.
I'll start off the morning nice and strong with some chemtrails.
With chemtrails, George Soros, and why don't you throw Rachel Maddow in there too? We'll see. I'll see what we can drum up.
Rachel Maddow. You know, just a fucking hat with some random names in it.
It's just a basket full of like hair trimmings, and it says Donald Trump bad. But oh shit,
right.
And the cat's freaking out. So I'll all right. Take care,
dog. Take it easy.
Later, dude.